Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It is February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, 2023. The NFL season is over, but we're still going, baby. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo, and our special guest co-host today. We've got Eric Romoff with us. What's up, Eric?
What's going on, Simon? Thanks for inviting me on.
Thanks for waking up at like 4 a.m. and joining us. I appreciate it.
I'm always up at 4 a.m. I have small children. This was like a late call for me.
JL showing up with a fresh cut, looking all fly like we wouldn't notice.
What can I say?
How's it feel?
Gotta be fresh for Vegas, you know?
Does it feel good?
It feels clean. It feels fuzzy.
That's always the best when you start rubbing and it's like, oh, you can't stop rubbing your own head. You were telling me yesterday that I didn't see your haircut, but I heard you after the haircut. And that your haircut,
heard my haircut?
No, I heard your voice post haircut. I could just tell your hair was cut.
It was lighter.
It was when you said, I just got back from getting my haircut. And I knew you had just got.
That's what it dawned on you.
Sign.
Something in the way you said that just like gave it away. Something in your tone and your demeanor. But you said that your barber was hyped to talk football with you. When he found out that you liked football, just like God.
Oh yeah, we were talking football. We were talking Ravens, Super Bowl the whole time. My man was working.
When that happens, when like someone finds out you like fantasy football or you're involved in football, and like just like the light goes in their head, and they're like, I can talk to someone about it.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm casual. I don't put that many bets down. It's like $1,000 a week. I'm like, oh.
Oh, that kind of casual. That kind of casual. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Craig in here said, morning, fellas. Today is National Wisconsin Day. How do you plan to celebrate? JL, how are you celebrating National Wisconsin Day?
I am celebrating National Wisconsin Day by drawing my best guess at what Wisconsin looks like.
That's a great way to celebrate. Eric, you got anything special you're doing for Wisconsin Day?
I am going to attempt to eat my own body weight in cheese curds today.
Curds. So beautifully named. Just a food that really nailed the marketing on that one.
They did.
And I'm gonna fly to the beautiful state of Wisconsin, to their most populous city, Las Vegas. I'm not entirely sure on the geography there, but I'm pretty sure it works out. I already booked my flight.
Checks out.
Yeah, I'm gonna just assume it's in Wisconsin. We got NKC in here saying good morning. What's up, NKC? And Tommy kicking us off with a rhyme to start today. Coming in with, the NFL season is gone. Oh, how can this be? It seems like just yesterday it started with you three. Predictions and bets, Lizards versus Gators, hypotheticals and Jeopardy, Coop and his tomatoes. Now we turn the page and get ready for spring. Let's light the lamp and kick off this thing. We got baseball, basketball, hockey, and golf is just swell. And this weekend starts up the new XFL, baby. Joe, you nailed it.
Nailed it, right?
I love this.
Absolutely nailed it. Happy Wisconsin Day.
Can you tell the difference between this and the actual state of Wisconsin?
What?
It looks like Wisconsin is like slowly morphing into Florida down in that bottom corner.
America's dongle.
With like a slight hint of New York in there. With like the top left. It feels a little New Yorkish up there.
Yeah, definitely a little New Yorkish up there.
Super versatile state. Can really kind of take the shape of any other state.
Wow, Wisconsin. Beautiful.
The book, How the States Got Their Shapes, is just JL did it. One line. And the rest of the book is blank.
Also, was that a Chat GPT poem that we kicked off with?
It was
Robots
a Tommy
definitely
poem.
wrote that.
Tommy, we don't know for sure that Tommy's not a robot, so you could be honest with an Eric.
Fair.
Tommy, you're saying, Coop, you look so handsome. Yeah, something looks a little different today. And Coop said, love this new Coop. So we got Coop in the chat. He's cool with it. We were going to replace him with a potted plant, but I think we found one a little bit better. Well, guys,
marginally better than a potted plant is what I'm shooting for.
Nailed it. It is that time of morning. We are going to get into some BYOB. I hope you guys brought something to eat because we got everything else. We got the stories. We got the news. You guys just got to bring something for breakfast. Eric, do you have anything for breakfast this morning? You bring anything to eat?
No, just a bunch of coffee. I have been falling in love with the beef between Juju and AJ Brown, so definitely eating a lot of that on my feed as we get warmed up this morning.
I haven't been keeping up with the beef between Juju and AJ Brown. Is this a Twitter beef? Are they going at it like through reporters? What's going on?
Yeah, this is true blue Twitter beef. Juju sent out a fake Valentine's about being held, and AJ clapped back, said that he's on a 1-year deal. Basically, he went scoreboard with his contract. Juju went scoreboard with the Super Bowl. Became a nice back and forth.
I'm looking at the tweets now. Yeah, you're right. This was some good old fashioned Twitter beef over there.
Right.
The prompt had James Bradbury on the Valentine's Day card, and it said, "I'll hold you when it matters most." That's pretty fun. Come on, Bradbury. He's just messing around. What did or AJ Brown responded, not Bradbury. That seems more in character. His teammate defending him, right?
AJ Brown caping up. I mean, you love to see it. What are you gonna do, right? He's gotta stand up for his guy. Bradbury, like, kudos to him coming out saying that, like, he held, right. He ate it right off the jump, and then his reward for that is just getting dragged on Twitter by Juju on Valentine's Day, right? So I can understand why AJ Brown's got some feels about it.
And there was even another Bradbury quote. Like, I feel like he just keeps on saying the right thing over and over again whenever he was asked about that accountability. Because you're right, he came out and he held himself accountable to it. But then, I don't know, people were surprised. We don't hear that all that often. I feel like it's more common to come out pissed at the refs, pissed at the coach, pissed at the teammate. So he was asked about that, and he said, I feel like I only had two options, really. I could take responsibility for it, or I could blame it on someone else. I try not to live that way. It comes from my mom or coaches in the past I've had taken accountability.
Man,
that's the kind of thing.
Lessons from Bradbury. Cuts deep.
It feels like the kind of message where, like, he wasn't aiming that at anyone. He was truly talking about his own experiences, but there's NFL players that are going to hear that and take it as a personal attack. Like, oh, you think my mama didn't raise me right? Know what I mean? Like, because it's so just like pointing it like, no, I behaved this way because my mom told me to, and I was taught correctly. And players are going to get, I can see that being taken personally by some others.
Some guys are having long, tough conversations in the mirror about the time that they flamed the refs for a call they did or didn't get, right?
100%.
Where did it go wrong?
Greg in here wants to know, Eric, if you are Team Grimace or Team Oven Mitt.
I'm gonna go with the hometown favorite here. I'm gonna go Team Oven Mitt.
Yes, welcome.
Not necessarily on merit, but a little bit of behind the scenes here. I am within a 2-mile radius of that oven mitt right now, and that is a terrifying proposition to be on the wrong side of that mitt. So, Team Mitt all day.
It's the more imminent threat. You have to come on the team. Coop said, bro, you call me TikTok boy, and we have to fist fight. I guess AJ Brown throws some TikTok boy insults at Juju.
TikTok boy.
Coop's like, I'm a TikTok man. I'm no TikTok boy.
Got Trenton in the chat. Said, morning, gents. What up, Trenton?
What's up, Trenton?
Hey, Trenton.
How you doing? Yesterday we talked a little bit about Derek Carr expected to be released, but it became official. The Las Vegas Raiders have released quarterback Derek Carr before his $40.4 million in his contract became guaranteed. He's a free agent. The two teams that are expected to pursue him the heaviest are the Panthers and the Saints, but there's probably other teams in the mix as well. Eric, where do you think Derek Carr is going to end up? And what do you think about this cut instead of being traded, him demanding to be cut?
Yeah, I mean, it's so fitting that the most brooding and emo quarterback in the league breaks up with the Raiders on Valentine's Day and kind of makes a mess out of all of it, right? He very well could have accepted a trade. It sounded like the best or the most active trade partners were the teams that are most likely to have interest in him in free agency. So feels like he's just kind of thumbing his nose at the Raiders. You're not going to get anything for me on my way out the door. I mean, those two teams make a lot of sense, right? They've certainly got gaps in their roster at the position. It might be kind of a lazy take, but there's something about above average quarterback that's getting a little long in the tooth that just screams Colts to me. So might get a conversation in Indianapolis as well. But I mean, there are several teams that are going to at least have some interest, right? He represents an upgrade to a handful of teams out there, and I think that's part of the reason why he shut down any trade talks. He wanted to have a little bit more say so in where he lands.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
That is interesting. Just the whole pettiness of the interaction. I feel like Derek Carr is like aggressive, and it's made it like a little bit comical.
He's been a little bit what? Sorry, I couldn't hear you there, Jay.
He's been like a little bit petty throughout this whole process, and it just kind of has this air of drama to it.
Yeah,
funny because Derek Carr is not like a dramatic person in my mind.
I think it's a little bit petty, but I don't. Or like petty is one way to look at it, but number one, looking out for number one is another way to look at it, right? They told him early on, like, we don't plan on having you as our starting quarterback next year. We plan on trading you. We're going to move on from Derek Carr. And so he's got to start looking out for himself at that point, right? It's not about what the Raiders want. It's about what he wants and what the team that he's ultimately going to end up on wants. And I don't blame him for taking that approach. I see Trenton in the chat saying he's emo, makes his decisions on emotion, and cries at conferences. Hey, normalize showing emotion. It's all good. He was emotional, man. It's okay to cry.
True.
Eric's gonna cry right now, right, Eric?
I'm getting a little verklempt just thinking about it. All that he's done for the Raiders,
and
now he's out on the street.
What was that adjective?
A little verklempt. It's Yiddish.
I've never heard that in my life.
Verklempt. Oh, and it is spelled Google. Just kudos to
Google. The way you think
for figuring out what I was trying to say there, because I did not spell that correctly at all. Jay, I'll take a shot at spelling verklempt.
Verklempt. It's
oh no, I mean verklempt.
VWEPT.
Nailed it. Except for the letters you missed. VERKLEMPT.
Try. Let's go, baby.
Choked up. It's beautiful.
Verklempt.
Tommy said choked up. He knew it in the chat. But he said as a Raiders fan, he's happy for him and for the team, ready for that Stidham time. JL, do you think they're going to roll with Stidham as the starting quarterback next year? And are you optimistic about it?
I don't think they're going to roll with Stidham. I think they'll probably try and fill in this position with either through free agency or through the draft.
Eric, you agreeing with JL here?
Yeah, there's no way that it's Stidham season, right? Maybe if they do go the draft route, they give him a couple of starts as the kid gets up to the NFL speed, but ultimately moving on from Derek Carr was not so they could go and make room for Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised by what we saw from Jarrett Stidham this year whenever he did play. Like, he looked like a good quarterback. And maybe it's because he's in the system that he's familiar with. And that's what gives me pause, right? It's Josh McDaniels there that gives me pause that we could be seeing Stidham as that starting quarterback. So we'll see. I'm not going to be shocked if they add someone else, but I'm also not going to be shocked if they just roll into the season with Stidham under center. We shall see, though. Guys, coming up, we are going to continue some BYOB. We've got some news topics we got to hit for you. We're going to play the daily Weddle, try to knock that down. We've got a Disney movies draft coming up a little bit later today as well. And we're going to play some Here's the Pitch and some Fantasy Detectives before Alex, a.k.a. Trey Daddy, joins us to answer some of life's toughest questions from Reddit. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Sell me on doing away with the 2-conference system in the NFL.
Is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated? And that's because of the 2-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We had these divisions, they were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was like,
How dare you?
He smacked the globe. He was like,
I'm
what do
doing
you
all
mean?
the hard work we've done.
2023, geography doesn't matter, right? Smacks his
You know
globe.
how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare
I'm
you?
just imagining they ripped on the world map and underneath is Algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Paper straws. Oh, they're so bad, Ray. I mean, I'm almost tempted to say screw Mother Earth. Give me a real straw. The paper straw thing is a step too far in saving the planet for me.
It's a great idea. The problem is it has to last. Like it can't go mushy halfway through my drink.
That's
And
the
I think
problem.
That's the problem. They have a hard time standing up if you don't drink that.
100%. That's my issue, Ray. I'm all for taking care of the only planet we got. But Ray, some people like to drive a lot. I don't. I don't get on them for they have to drive 20 minutes to work every day. Can I just get a plastic straw? Like, I think, Ray, we should be able to pay for a card that says, I don't drive every day, so they said I could have this kind of environmental impact by getting a plastic straw. I am in favor, Ray, of government-issued plastic straws if I have the proof that I'm worthy of such. If you want it, you get it. It's kind of like the Clear Pass. You know,
Yeah,
at the
there you go.
airport.
Okay.
Like, Ray, I'd be willing to pay an extra $2 a year, and I get as many plastic straws as I want when I go out to the restaurant.
And the $2 goes toward cleaning the oceans or something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. That's not a terrible idea. Not terrible.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? We are back here on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We had to take a little intermission during our breakfast today. Sometimes you just need a little extra time to digest.
That's what it was.
That is 100% what I meant when I said it. And then as soon as you gave me that face jail, I was like, damn it.
Definitely was not pooping. That's for sure.
No, Ani Coop, I promise I wasn't trying to say that. I also see we got some people commenting in the chat about the Derek Carr news about the lack of being or approving a trade, not waiving that no trade clause. Craig said, we see all the time that teams are pretty petty about business. If he can do the same, good for him. We shouldn't hold players to act better than teams do. And I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. Number one, got to look out for number one because those teams aren't going to. The second they're done with you, they move on because it's business.
And don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that Derek Carr is being unreasonable or petty in the situation. More so that it's just a funny context to see him in, like this whole back and forth, because he just comes across as like non-confrontational to me. Not that he shouldn't or have the right to choose his own fate here with his contract.
Man,
Joe, why are you anti-worker?
I've got somewhat of a different take. I don't think that he's a confrontational guy, but like I just think about his like brooding like meme where he's on the side all pouty. And that's all that comes to mind as I see him making a bit of a mess in the Raiders organization. I'm sure he's a great guy, and he's certainly got to take care of number one.
But maybe he can do both at the same time. Maybe there is a petty to it. Looking out for number one involves a little bit of to the Raiders.
It's not bad. It's not a bad idea.
Joe, we should go to the Raiders Stadium while we're out in Vegas. We say it every time that we should go tour the Raiders Stadium. We should go tour the Raiders Stadium, and we never do. We should go tour the Raiders Stadium.
We should
I'm
do
saying
it
again. Okay, this year's gonna be different.
Do we have to do anything, or we just show up?
I think you just show up and knock on the door.
I think you have to ask nicely as well.
You have to. You have to ask nicely.
Yeah, pretty please.
Okay, Joe, let me do the talking then when we show up.
Okay.
I'll practice leading up to it. Tommy said use his name. Yeah, Tommy.
We're with Tommy.
Tommy loud.
You know, Tommy with the rhymes.
Tommy in the chat.
The BSN chat.
You know what I'm talking about.
Where's
Mark?
Yeah, Mr. Davis. I need to speak with you. Let's get Mark Davis haircuts before we go.
We all show up with Mark Davis haircuts.
So
he just got a haircut too. He went clean shaven. Yeah, he's
no
way.
Down.
Yeah. No, welcome to the ball club.
Right, which is wild because he's got a good head shape for a bald guy, right? Nice and even. I don't know why he hung on to that weird bowl cut forever.
He loved it.
Bald works for him.
Some sort of like emotional childhood trauma.
I'm trying to find a picture of him bald now to see what he looks like. All I can find is a picture. Oh my God. He's got a great head shape for it. You're right. Like that man went from like goofy looking to like badass, but kind. Like he's got like a gentle look in his eyes, but don't mess with him or he's going to beat you up. Whereas before it was like, don't push him or he might not stand up again.
It's true.
I feel like it took 20 years off.
Definitely a big glow up getting rid of that weird. I don't know if that was a toupee or what, but it was not working for him.
To anyone fighting their baldness, not me, but anyone else, use Mark Davis as some inspiration.
Yes.
This is some bald inspo. Set that as your background and get comfortable with it because that man just changed his life. This is 2.0. This is a new life for Mark Davis.
First day of the rest of his life.
The forum that I landed on to see this picture is called Tiger Droppings.
Is that
the heck? Is this like an LSU forum? Yeah, I think it is.
I think that's like the LSU forum where like don't go too deep into those threads because the college specific forums are where people go wild. Like if you want to see some homer takes, just start finding some what's the Clemson one? Shaking the Southland or something like that. I can't remember what it is.
I've never even visited that.
Brutal. You don't want to go there. It'll make you not want to be a Clemson fan, but every single college has one.
Some big news. This is kind of college related. Big news coming out of yesterday. Baltimore Ravens hired new offensive coordinator Todd Monken. What do you guys think of that?
The Monk.
Georgia offensive coordinator.
The Georgia offense has been
pretty good
the past couple seasons under Todd Monken.
Good,
they got 2 national championships under their belt there, and the 3rd season when he was there ran pretty well. And he's done that with like I don't want to throw shade at any players, but nobody's saying that Stetson Bennett is like a Jalen Hurts or like a Trevor Lawrence or like a Justin Fields, right? He's a older game manager, and he created some of the best offenses in the NFL with Stetson Bennett. How much fun is he going to have if Lamar Jackson is the quarterback? You know what I mean? That's going to open things up for him. I'm excited for it. Welcome back to the NFL, Mr. Monken.
Yeah, it's nice to see a college program other than Alabama be an effective stop on like the rehab tour, right? Like forever and ever, guys that flamed out of the NFL could just go do a stint or two with Nick Saban in Alabama and kind of rehab their image. Now it looks like we're getting some of that with Georgia and rightfully so. If nothing else, I mean, almost anybody is going to be an upgrade to Greg Roman, right? So feels like the arrow's got to be pointing up.
I'm very happy about this as a Ravens fan.
Nick Saban's been running the school for coaches who can't coach good and want to learn to do other stuff good too. and then they send him back to the NFL.
they all just go in there and kind of bask in his shine for a little bit, and all of a sudden they're reformed and ready to break the NFL.
I think Louis C.K. went through that program.
Yeah, he must have. He must have spent some
He
time
was a
there.
special teams coordinator, right?
I think it was O-line coach, but I'm not positive.
Can you imagine? All right, block this way, I guess.
It pans over on the sideline, and you just see him standing like, I don't know.
He just always looks confused.
No, UGA is kind of like a sister school, an offshoot program of the Nick Saban School for Coaches Who Can't Coach Good and want to learn to do other stuff good too. Kirby Smart did attend that school. He didn't drop out of another school and have to go to that one. He was a first-time student, but he's under that Nick Saban coaching tree. So he got that Nick Saban shine, and I guess he got enough of it. Maybe he's moving on, and these coaches can get some of his shine.
A little bit of his shine.
A little bit of his shine.
I really hope this opens up the passing game. I think that's we talked about Greg Roman. That definitely is dude, he just felt like a one-trick pony. Like he didn't have many dimensions, and it was just you can't do that in today's NFL.
I could only imagine being a Ravens fan, but like whenever I got to go back and watch Ravens film, it was like he ran the same 12 plays on the opening sequence in every single game, and then like to spice it up, he rotated in like 3 more plays, and that was the extent of their offense. Like I can't wait to have someone come in and actually try to be a little bit unique in how they call plays.
Yeah, especially with a player like Lamar Jackson. Hopefully, I'm willing that into existence.
Maybe.
With a player like Lamar Jackson. JL, I'm doing the same thing. Todd Monken's going to be so excited with a player like Lamar Jackson under center.
Yeah.
Please, Lamar. Let's not have too much. Like, we got enough QB drama floating around out there. We got Aaron Rodgers starting his darkness retreat at the end of this week. We got Derek Carr spurning the Raiders. He's a spurned lover on his way out the door. That's enough for now. We're good. Tom Brady just retired, so that closed one chapter of drama. But let's leave it to these two guys. Is there any other good QB drama going on right now?
Oh yeah, I mean Kyler. I feel like there's always good drama around him.
That's like Kyler. Nothing in specific. Just him existing on the Cardinals.
I just feel like everybody talks about how Kyler is like creates all this drama or like leads into these situations, but then I never actually see Kyler Murray acting that way. And so I don't actually believe it until I see it.
It does feel like a lot of Kyler did this. Yeah, well, Kyler did that. Yeah, Mom, Kyler's pushing me again. And it's like, okay, well, what's Kyler's side?
It's almost always other people talking about Kyler, not what I'm directly observing Kyler doing. So it makes me a little skeptical.
We saw it boil over on the field one time this season, right? Remember he got into that
That's a game. That's like
game,
that does not worry me at all. It tells me he's a competitor. Like if you're not screaming at your coach, what are you doing?
We've screamed at a coach. I did it once.
I saw a video of Jonathan Gannon at the Cardinals facility, and I think he was getting ready to head out, and someone told him that Kyler was in the weight room, so he's turned around, ran to go meet him. And honestly, like I pictured Kyler Murray just like camping out in the weight room, trying to rehab his gamer image. He's like, "No, coach, I've been here for weeks. What are you talking about?" there's so much heat out there that he has down games whenever there's a new release on Call of Duty or whatever it might be. It's so fitting that as the new coach comes in, he's just like bunkered down in the weight room, getting those reps in,
trying to show off.
It's like one of two things when you got the substitute teacher. Either the kids are like trying to show off and be really nice for the substitute, or they go the other direction. And it looks like luckily Kyler took that round, didn't show and be like with his video games in the weight room, like feet up on the rack, prevent people like, oh hey, and then just turns back around.
Oh, Wi-Fi's better in here, and just keeps going after it.
Did you say on his PSP?
Yeah.
Not even the Vita. He's playing on the PSP, the old school.
The old PlayStation Portable, yep.
He's an old soul, for sure.
Kyler Murray, the old soul. When I hear old soul, I always think of Kyler Murray first.
And PSP.
the new coach there. Eric, you brought it up. They're hiring the Eagles defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, to become the head coach. How do you feel about that hiring?
Similarly to how I felt the departure of Greg Roman in Baltimore, right? There's really nowhere to go but up from the Cliff Kingsbury experiment. I mean, you look at what this defense was able to do in Philadelphia. You know, he'll have some pretty solid pieces at his disposal in Arizona, right? So I do think that it'll be, you know, kind of a refreshing change. He'll probably be a bit more of a stabilizing force. I'm really interested to see who he brings in as his OC, right? Because that offense feels like it should have been, you know, pretty explosive given the talent they had, and it never really lived up to that. So that hire, I think, really is the one that's going to pique my interest as it comes across.
Yeah,
it's
and
interesting as like a defensive minded head coach in that organization. I think is interesting because their defense isn't bad, right? You got Buda Baker led defense. You got Isaiah Simmons. They got a ton of good talent on that defense, but the offense I feel like does need direction, and I wonder if Gannon is going to be able to provide that.
Yeah, and you look at their defense, their secondary has just been getting torched for years, right? And you know, while he doesn't have, you know, players the caliber of Darius Slay at his disposal, you know, apart from Slay, I feel like he did a pretty good job of getting the most out of some pretty like league average cornerbacks and secondary players. So, you know, if he can tighten that up a little bit and then bring in someone on the offensive side that can get things moving, you know, might be a nice little uptick pretty quickly in Arizona.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to tell what he's going to be able to do with the secondary pieces there in Arizona right now, because the pieces he was using previously were James Bradbury and Darius Slay, right? Like it's those are pretty nice pieces whenever you're trying to piece together your secondary.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll see. Now with this hire, two things have happened. One, the Eagles have lost both of their coordinators. Their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator have now been hired, with Steichen officially being hired by the Colts over Jeff Saturday, and what can only be viewed as error in judgment, a lapse in judgment by Jim Irsay. John Luke, do you think the Eagles are going to be fine? Do you trust Nick Sirianni to fill these positions and they'll keep rolling into next year? Because we have seen the departure of coordinators have a notable impact on teams in the past. I think the Bills' offense didn't quite look the same this year without Dable.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right. I think Nick Sirianni is the real deal. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. And that front office, their GM, they're some smart folks over there in Philadelphia. So I'm not too worried about it.
Eric, you any more pessimistic about the Eagles situation? You're just waiting to see who they bring in.
Marginally, right, and not because of any, you know, uncertainty around the front office or Nick Sirianni. It's more just the timing, right? This team played in the Super Bowl. They had both of their coordinators, you know, scooped up by other teams, and now, you know, we're looking at a point where all head coaching positions have been filled. There are only a small handful of offensive and defensive coordinator spots still open, so they're kind of getting into the market a little bit late, right? The highly sought after, coveted guys have largely already landed gigs somewhere, right? So they're going to be splashing around in a pretty shallow pool. But you know, once they get in, I do think that Sirianni can kind of get them going in the right direction pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is a cool test to see what Sirianni's made of here, right? Like that's a pretty big hurdle to overcome this offseason after losing in the Super Bowl, hopes to get back next year. Okay, now replace your two highest coaching positions besides you on the staff. Yeah. We'll see.
And they might bring some guys with them, right? They might have you know, a D-line coach or a DB coach come with them. So I mean, there's still potentially some attrition in front of the Eagles.
Yeah, 100%. I always thought that was like fun. Like, I don't know, your friend gets a new job, so you move across the country. Know what I mean?
Yeah,
like your buddy got a new job. Like, guess
we're moving.
Guess we're moving.
That's exactly how it would go with all of us, right?
Yeah.
You guys go get your tour of the Raiders facility, and they make you D coordinator. everyone from the FYF family is now part of the Raiders coaching staff.
Exactly.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine? Tommy would be like, "Ah!"
we're on the sideline just as the opposing team scores another touchdown.
Yeah, just dismantling his
rat.
team.
We all get the old Mark Davis haircuts. That's where we get them. We're all standing on the sideline with bangs. JL, you get clip-on bangs in the front.
Yes,
with your short hair.
I am committed. You can lock this in. If you guys can score me a job with the Raiders, I will devote the rest of my days to the Mark Davis haircut.
Okay.
The rest of your days, all eternity.
It's on air.
Do it.
And
he didn't say what
Your
job.
move.
I was about to say, all we have to do is get Eric a job with the Raiders.
Yeah, that's very easy. That's a very easy
I'm
proposition.
about to be the Raiders janitor, looking like Mark Davis.
They just had to fire Derek Carr's bathroom companion
Yes.
since he's not there. But who
Very
knows
expensive.
if the next quarterback is going to need one? Just someone to sit in that next stall and keep him company.
I'm there. I'll hit him with the cologne while he's washing his hands. Got a variety of mint options for him. You name it.
Yeah, those guys always make me so uncomfortable. Like I'm just trying to wash my hands. And
It's got to be the
like,
most
turning on the
awkward
water for
existence.
me and like handing me a paper towel really quickly and like it's not their fault. That's their job, man. And like I tip them every time, but every time I'm just like I just want to wash my hands in peace. I do not want to have to even like look at another person.
That's always it's always like a race too, right? Like if you get to the paper towel first, you might not tip them, right? So they're just like trying to be 2 steps ahead the whole time.
100%. And I feel like it's
but if you're poor, you don't want to tip them, so you're like trying to beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
or you like.
Hilarious.
I feel like it discourages hygienic practices as well because having a man standing at the sink who you're supposed to give money to is a great way to make people skip the sink.
Yeah.
True.
Like just avoid that situation entirely.
Nothing will make me judge someone more. That's not true. There are plenty of things that'll make me judge someone more. I don't need the qualifier. I will judge people hella hard if you walk out of the bathroom without washing your hands.
Oh, so much. I will tell other people. Know what I mean? Like
I will
it's
make an audible sound of disgust at you.
So where do you
exception
land
from
on this? I feel like in the post-pandemic world, there is a much greater access to automated or automatic hand sanitizer machines. So if someone doesn't wash hands, but on the way out, they hit the little Purell machine and get all Purelled up, fair play, or are you still judging them?
It's a good question. I judge them a little less, but I'm still probably judging them. Just because I don't trust that they're like properly doing that. Like they're probably just like putting their hand underneath. Half of those things don't even work.
It's true.
Like I'm going to the Atlanta airport later, and I know for a fact those hand sanitizer machines do not work in the Atlanta airport.
But even when they don't work, they still fire and make the little noise. So like it gives air cover to these disgusting monsters out there.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
with filthy hands.
Exactly.
You have to cover the floor in hand sanitizer first every time before you use it because you put your hand under, it's not working. So you pull your hand out and then it goes squirt all of it directly on the floor. You're like, oh.
Pants.
And sometimes they got that little tray, sometimes they don't, and then you make a little mess.
Yep.
Oh, a little mess. I see Gator J in the chat. What's up, Gator? Said
What up,
JL
Gator?
judges everyone.
I see
No one. Or is Gator saying that in his world nobody washes their hands when leaving the bathroom?
Oh.
There is one exception I have to that, and it is I have encountered maybe 2 bathrooms in my entire life that fall under this view. If I truly feel like my penis is the cleanest thing in that bathroom, I will not wash my hands. Like if I look around and I am going to make myself dirtier, even after washing my hands by having to turn off the sink or touch a paper towel or touch a door handle, I'll walk out. But I have only encountered a restroom that dirty like 2 or 3 times ever in my life.
The look of sheer disgust on JL's face says all that we need to say.
What? The bathroom or the not washing hands?
I think it's just a visceral reaction to you saying my penis.
That's not how you usually react when I say that.
Yeah. Well, I'm tired.
Is it because I'm 28 and a half now?
Yeah.
Just a little
Old
too
ass.
old. Tommy in here said, a guy once said to me, impressive, and gave him $20. The guy in the back. No, he gave him $20. And then Tommy also said his ween is cleaner than anything in a public bathroom. Okay, so now whenever we're trying to get into the Raiders Stadium, we got some more information to give them. You know, Tommy from the chat with the clean ween.
Does that,
You
does that
know?
mean that Tommy never? So if Tommy follows the same principles as you, he never washes his hands. Is that where we're getting at?
I
guess so. If you follow Simon's logic, but that would be.
I feel like I misrepresented my logic there for a little bit. It's having some implications that I didn't intend right there. I don't want you to walk into a bathroom and go, huh?
Pretty
this isn't very clean.
Go ahead and update your Twitter bio, Simon. We know who you are now.
Every time I'm in a bathroom with either of you guys from now on, like a public restroom, if I go to wash my hands, you're going to look at me and be like, disgusting. Really? It's not cleaner than this. Just judging the hell out of me.
You've really backed yourself into a corner here.
I know.
There's no winning.
No, there is no winning. With that head coaching hire of Gannon to the Cardinals, that is now the end of the head coaching positions in this coaching cycle, though. No more. They're all done. Chop, chop. Every head coaching vacancy filled.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Eric Bieniemy still doesn't have a job.
No,
that's wild, especially in the context of the other side of the sideline, right? Like it was the Oprah effect for the Eagles, just everyone getting a job, and here's Eric Bieniemy just chilling with Andy Reid. This has got to be like a coach in waiting situation, right?
I would have so.
Yeah.
But
why else wouldn't he have a head coaching job? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Lindsey Jones came out and highlighted that 11 months ago, Andy Reid stood up in a privileged session at an NFL owners meeting and passionately and directly asked league owners why Eric Bieniemy hadn't gotten a head coaching job. Here we are, another coaching cycle complete, and EB still hasn't gotten an offer. So she's saying not only does he not have a job, but he hasn't gotten an offer. Like, it's not like he's turning them down.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
There was more transparency into the decision-making process. I know that will never most likely be the case, but
it's not like he hasn't had some market there, right? Like we're a few years removed from him being the sort of presumed, next hot coaching hire, and he's still performing incredibly well, right? Like he won that Super Bowl with those reverse jet sweep touchdowns back to back, right? Like it's bizarre. Like on merit, he should have his pick of the litter, and here he is. I mean, I guess to be fair, I'm sure he's not mad about constantly being in Super Bowl contention with Kansas City, but
all those rings,
he definitely deserves his own shot.
Yeah. Coop said even Andy Reid doesn't want him around.
Coop, you have such a gift for being able to twist things into the negative. Just beautiful with that one. That was art, the way you turned that around so quickly and so eloquently. I can't argue against it.
Well done.
Someone hire this guy, please. Get him out of here.
Passion speech.
He's done with it. Speaking of Andy Reid, did you guys see Patrick Mahomes revealed that during halftime at the Super Bowl, Andy Reid threatened to bench any Kansas City player who left the locker room to go watch Rihanna's halftime show?
Damn.
He told them, if you go watch, I'm benching you. Ronald Jones was like, see you on the bench in the second half, coach.
Yeah, right. Ronald Jones and Melvin Gordon just having the time of their life at the halftime show.
As Andy Reid saying that, Jones is like, under my umbrella. Just like, getting ready, getting hyped. He's got a poster as
the coach is going to bench you. He's like, that's all right.
Again?
Dude, I would love it if like Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes just like totally flexed on him. They're like, see you after the show, coach. Your move.
Your move.
I feel like at that point, like he'd backed himself into a corner. He would have had to do it. Like he would have had to bench them. Know what I mean? Because that would have come out afterwards. At that point, you just say, I said it. If we lose, I told you the consequences. It's on you at this point.
How awesome would the little like sideline report when they come back from the half? It's like Josina Anderson out there saying like the Chiefs will be without Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes because they were rocking out to Rihanna at the halftime show.
That would be
Andy Reid, man of his word.
Did you guys hear during I think it was the Super Bowl, they said like by policy, Andy Reid does not do those halftime interviews if the team's down.
I caught that too, yeah.
That was kind of interesting. It's an interesting little tidbit that I just kind of popped back in my head.
I didn't know that was an
remember.
option.
I remember that specifically, and I had a similar thought. It's like, what a boss move! Like, no, I'm in a bad mood. I don't want to talk to you. It's policy.
Yeah. I haven't heard any other team do that, but I just think that's funny. Like they have a actual rule in place, or at least the organization has a preference that they've established not to. It's just funny.
Why aren't other coaches doing that? Why aren't other coaches saying that?
Is it like is this an Andy Reid doesn't want to be like, don't ask me about it, like I'm mad because I'm losing type of thing, or is there another reason?
I think this is a smokescreen. Actually, now that we talk about this halftime show thing, I think Andy Reid is full of bluster with his halftime policies. If someone went, if a key starter went to go watch the halftime show, he's absolutely not benching them, and he just didn't want to give the halftime interview. And he stood up some fake policy that they never do it. Which, to be fair, they're not trailing at the half all that often, so there aren't a whole lot of opportunities to check whether or not this is an active policy.
It's a very good point. Did you guys see what he said about? He said Andy Reid was asked today about how he celebrated the Super Bowl win. Once he returned to Kansas City, he said, "Yeah, I went to Pizza 51. I got a mushroom and sausage pizza. How about that? And a salad just to make my chubbiness feel good."
Yeah, if there's anything in the world that makes you happy, like just you get like a genuine giggle and smile every time you even start thinking about Andy Reid talking about food.
It's not like a genuine, like I'm genuinely happy about it. I'm like, I'm sitting here like, come on, Andy Reid, like you're just leaning into it too far now. Like, yeah, it's like too much. You got to pull back the reins a little bit.
The chubby line at the end is what did make him my chubbiness happy. Was like that was his little like wink wink. I know what we're doing here. I know what you want me to say.
You know what this feels like? It feels like a Gabriel Iglesias situation where like he's just leaning into the one joke a little bit too far. You know what I mean?
The I'm fluffy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't mind Gabriel Iglesias. I just said
no,
Iglesias.
and I think that joke was brilliant.
Yeah.
Especially when it came out.
I'm sick of hearing I'm fluffy. I'm sick of all the specials being I'm fluffy. But his other jokes, the dude's an awesome comic. Andy Reid, mix it up a little bit. Throw some other jokes in there. But he's not a comedian, so maybe we don't hold him to the same standard of joke that we hold.
No, I hold Andy Reid to every standard.
It's Chiefs policy. He can have one joke that he just goes back to in recurrence.
It's always weight related.
Little known policy.
Greg is saying Ronald Jones has more Super Bowl rings than Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen. So who is the great one now? He earned watching Rihanna with his Super Bowl rings. John Luke, I'm sorry, but Eric and I wanted to try Weddle on hard mode today and play without you.
And I'm too dumb to play with you guys.
It's the opposite. You're a little bit too smart, and we wanted to make it a real challenge today. So we decided, we took a vote. We're kicking you off for the rest of the show.
That's fair. Okay. Well, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, think about it, and then I'll see you in Vegas, and we can have a talk about it after that. I'll let you know how the Weddle goes.
Wait, Wisconsin. You guys are going to Wisconsin, aren't you?
Yeah, Las Vegas, Wisconsin.
Las Vegas, Wisconsin.
Las Vegas, Wisconsin, baby. John Luke.
I didn't notice the Z the first time. That's a perfect little.
It's now on my computer.
Beautiful. Safe travels, JL.
I love you all. Enjoy the rest of your show. Bye-bye.
See you on another time. Eric, you want to solve that Weddle with me? You ready?
I do. I'm terrified though. I've played Weddle. It usually eats my lunch, so I don't know if I can be much help to you, but I'm down to give it a try.
We are undefeated on this show on the normal mode.
That
is yet to
definitely
miss one.
Coming to an end today.
So Eric, there's a lot of pressure on me and you to make this happen. Everybody, if you haven't watched before or you haven't played Weddle before, this is just like the popular word game Wordle, but instead of guessing 5-letter words, we're going to be guessing NFL players. Each time we guess, we'll get a little bit of information, what team they're on, their position, how tall they are, their number, their age, and it's going to tell us if we're close with the player that we guessed. We have 8 guesses to figure out who the NFL player is. So if you want to play along, you can do so at weddlegame.com, weddlegame.com. We're going to get started. Eric, give me a starting player, any offensive player in the NFL, or it's just quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end for the normal mode. So any of those guys, the fantasy guys.
let's go with Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, starting with a quarterback, a young quarterback, will give us some information. Okay. So what we know is he is in the NFC, but not the NFC North. So we got yellow for the NFC. They're not a quarterback. They're shorter than 6'3". They're older than 23, but close. So they're 24, 25 is what that means. It's within 2, and then their number is higher than 1. So every other number is available.
That
So
was a
just
terrible guess in retrospect.
But 2 and 3 are unavailable as well because it's not close. So we need someone in the NFC. Someone in the NFC who does not play quarterback, is shorter than 6'3". This could most likely not a tight end. Because they have to be shorter than 6'1". They have to be 6 foot or shorter. And most tight ends are even taller than 6 foot. So it's probably a wide receiver or a running back. And they're relatively young, but not that young, 24, 25.
And you said they're in the NFC, but not the NFC North?
In the NFC, but not the NFC North, right?
Good. I'm exclusively thinking about NFC North players. That's the only thing I have in my mind.
It happens every time. Let's go with a wide receiver or a running back. Maybe Gator says Miles Sanders, and I was just thinking Miles Sanders as well here. I think he's 24, 25, right? Or is he too old?
I think he's a little bit older than that, but not much. I was thinking Miles Sanders, or I was thinking Tony Pollard. So I'm cool with either of the NFC East running backs.
Let's go with Pollard, and then if it's in the NFC East, we'll get a little bit of information there. Okay, the position is right. They are in the NFC East. They're under 6 foot. Their age is less than 25, so we know they're exactly 24 years old. And their number is higher than 20.
Is it Miles Sanders?
Oh, wait, they're not in the NFC East. Sorry.
Oh, they're not. Okay, perfect.
That was incorrect. So they're not in the NFC East, but they are running back either in the NFC West or the NFC South. It's going to be relatively
and they're exactly
young.
24 years old.
How old is Deonta Foreman?
Oh, he's older than that.
Older than that?
Yeah, because before Carolina and Tennessee, he was out of the league. He had a stint with the Texans.
That's right.
Yeah, he's well older than 24.
Let's see. Rashad White is probably too young. He's probably not 24 yet.
Yeah, as a rookie. Alvin Kamara is obviously out. He's a little too old.
Too old. Tyler Algier, I think he's too young, but maybe he was
same thing
with
Ken Walker too, right? They're both too young.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker's too young. Cam Akers.
Ooh.
On the Rams. He might be right around the right age.
What's the what did it say about the jersey number on Pollard?
Higher than 20. And not 1 or 2. Like, or not 21 or 22
Akers
either.
Is 23, right?
Okay. Yeah. So that would Eric, that is my complete blind spot is jersey numbers. That gives me no information every
Cam
time.
Akers is 23. But
you want to try Cam Akers?
Would we get the close on Tony Pollard's jersey number if it was 23?
No, it would have to be 21 or 22. So it's within 2 that we get the close on.
Yeah,
let's try Cam Akers.
Let's go Cam Akers.
Okay, let's see. Okay, NFC West is correct. Running back is correct. 5'10" is correct. His number is 23. Okay, so not 24, or his age is older than 20. Man, he is 23 years old. So
really, okay,
was not quite old enough. And then his number is 3, which we know it's higher than that as well. Okay, so we're in the right division now, though. Tampa Seahawks probably.
We're in the West. He's a running back.
Elijah Mitchell.
Ooh. Well, I mean that's. How deep down the roster does Weddle tend to go? We're not talking about like Keontae Ingram or anything, are we?
Maybe we could try it.
Let's go Eli Mitchell. Let's try Elijah Mitchell
first. And Elijah Mitchell was absolutely correct. We got it in 4, Eric. You acted like we weren't gonna get it, and then got it on the first try. I want to see Trenton in the chat with Mitchell as well. Nice job, Trenton, getting that one. Eric, do you play any other of these word games on a daily basis?
Man, I had a Wordle season when it was first picking up, And then probably after about 3 weeks, I kind of got into a groove with my opening word where it was a little too streamlined and just kind of fell away from it.
I get that. Yesterday I had a tragedy occur. When I opened my computer in the morning, I got a notification from Gmail. There's an error. You need to empty your cache and hard reload in order for your Gmail to work. So I go in, I empty my cache and my cookies, and then I go to play my Weddle. And every single one of my statistics since the pandemic has been deleted and wiped. They're gone.
Oh no, that's the reason why you play Weddle, so you can have your stats to just flex on people.
It hurt, and now I'm having to fight through. Did I play for the joy of the game, or did I play for the optics of the stats?
You only played for the clout.
We're gonna see. We're gonna find out because I played still yesterday, but we're gonna see if I keep up on the Weddle and the Quirtle. I lost all those stats, and the clout, it's gone. If someone saw me playing, Eric, when I beat it, it'd be embarrassing. It would pop up and say, puzzles completed. 1, 2.
Yeah, you're going to have to put in like a year's worth of work before you can share your results on either of those games.
The last time this happened, my Duolingo app crashed at 11:58 as I was about to finish my lesson for the day. I never did Duolingo again. That was 2 years ago. I had an almost year-long streak. I missed it one day, and then I haven't touched it since.
It was over. And for good measure, you also just purged that entire second language out of your brain.
Okay. I remembered one word. Just what? No, I need to get back into my Duolingo. Absolutely. Guys, coming up, we've got some games we're going to play. Our friend Jay, FYF fam member, G-Man Jay, is going to be joining the show to hang out with Eric and I. We're going to draft some Disney movies, and then we're going to pitch you on some ideas we have for inventions, movies, TV shows, just things we've been cooking up that we think the world could use. We've got some fantasy detectives coming your way as well. And then Alex, aka the Trade Daddy himself, is going to help us answer Reddit's most pressing questions. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Before the year, I said the Eagles were going to win the NFC East. I don't know if you remember that. I am a Cowboys fan. I do hate the Eagles. But anyone who has listened to me over the years knows that I can be objective. So I tweeted out, has there ever been a team that has an easier path to the Super Bowl than Philadelphia? Of course, the Eagles fans got on me. And I wasn't really alluding to the regular season. I know the tweet could be taken that way. But when you look at this playoff path, they had a first-round bye. Then they beat the Giants, okay? But anyone who was being reasonable, especially with Jalen Hurts, knew the Giants were not in the class of Philadelphia. Then you get to the NFC Championship game where the quarterback got hurt early in the game. And then the fourth-string quarterback, Josh Johnson, leaves with a concussion. And then they couldn't pass the ball. That's your path to getting to the Super Bowl. It doesn't mean that I'm saying the Eagles suck. I never said that. People are so sensitive. Anyone who's listened to me all year, I have given this team props. But the fact is they had an easy path. And like, well, they destroyed both teams. They did. Now the 49ers are good. And then someone's like, oh, well, they beat your Cowboys. Who did I pick to win last week? San Francisco, right? I picked San Francisco to beat Dallas. I didn't want that to happen, but I'm analyzing the game. I despise the Yankees. Anyone who knows me knows that. I had every Yankee starting pitcher on a fantasy roster last year. Every one of them. This year, the Superflex draft that we did, an industry draft, I took Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, Kadarius Toney. And people afterwards, you a Giants fan? No, bro. I want to win. It doesn't matter what team they're on. I don't care. I want to win. Do I despise those teams? Yes. But I want to win. If I feel they're the best fit for my fantasy team, I'm going to draft them. If I feel a bet is going to win and I hate that team, I'm going to bet it. It's about winning. It's about helping people make money. We all have that little bias in us, no doubt. But I will say this, I'm being honest. I hope Philadelphia gets smoked in the Super Bowl, okay? I am rooting for Kansas City. My man Patrick Mahomes, my dad played for the Mets. But I will analyze the game objectively, okay? Because I want the Eagles to lose. That doesn't mean I'm picking Kansas City. I'm going to analyze the game because I'm going to look at it as if I'm putting my money down. So it has nothing to do with that. And I don't know why people automatically, oh, you're a Cowboys fan, this and that. Well, yeah, I see your stupid avatar that you're an Eagles fan. You're clearly biased. Can we just agree that the path was easy? It doesn't diminish that they're in the Super Bowl. I didn't say they suck. I didn't say they don't deserve to be there. I just said the path was easy, and I don't think that's factually incorrect. And I didn't mean it for the regular season. I know it could be interpreted that way. Did they have great wins? No, but you know what? It doesn't matter. They were 14-3. They beat everyone they're supposed to beat. You know, they lost 2 games without Jalen Hurts. It's not discrediting them.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We tried to invite JL back, but he just wasn't having it. He's a bit spurned. I think a bit like all that Derek Carr talk must have got to him.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr is a role model for all of us, so it's not surprising that JL took a line from his book.
Let me get your opinion on this, Eric, because JL has ripped me to shreds over this in the past. And Maria, his fiance, has also ripped me to shreds over this. My girlfriend has ripped me to shreds over this. I think Derek Carr is a handsome man. When we're talking about some of the most handsome players in the NFL, he's not number 1, but I think he's top 5, top 10. Like, I think he's a handsome dude. And JL and Maria and Leanne have just obliterated me on that front. Think he's like, what are you talking about?
Man, that's a hard one. I certainly have no footing to talk about anyone else's appearance. If I had to be objective, I'd say he's like replacement level. He's league average in the looks department, right? But top 5, that's probably a bridge too far.
I think maybe it's the eyeliner, long eyelashes look that makes me think that way. Like it pines back to a time of like pop punk reigning supreme and like Vans Warped Tour, and that might like evoke like a positive memory in me that makes me
there's a nostalgia to it, right?
I think I see him and I hear Simple Plan in my head and I like attribute handsomeness to him.
Because every time you see him, it's "Where are you?"
I'm
also
just a kid and life is a nightmare.
The buzz cut is not doing anyone any justice, right? Like if you want to go full Mark Davis and bick it down to bald, that's fine. But I mean, do a little something with your hair, right? I'm always so curious when adult men just rock the buzz. Like, what does your hair look like if it grows out? What are we working with up there, Derek Carr?
I just found out recently. I was a buzz cut kid for the vast majority of my life. Just buzzed it, and sometimes I miss it because it feels nice and you don't have to worry about anything. It's cool in the summer. But
there's definitely a convenience factor. But you said the operative word, kid, right? Like once you're out of that kind of 15 or so age range, it's time to get out there and try something new. Look at you with the lettuce flowing, right? Imagine if you just stayed as a buzz cut kid.
I'm probably gonna go back at some point. And actually, you know what? I've said this. The next time I do it, I'm gonna go full Mark Davis. This is my it's my last hurrah. We're gonna be a bald guy after this. I'm committing. Tim in here said he kind of looks like Sid from Toy Story. Derek Carr.
Oh wow. Things that you can't unsee.
Of the Sids you could compare him to, that's the nicer one though than Sid from Ice Age. That's about the most insulting thing you could call a guy. Not someone I want to be compared to. I saw a crazy stat yesterday, Eric, before we get into this draft, that last season, this came from Mike Renner of PFF. He said that Tom Brady had more passing attempts this past season at 45 years old than Trey Lance has had in his entire high school, college, and NFL career. Tom Brady had 799 pass attempts this year. Trey Lance has 798 total in his entire career. When you hear this, are you going to take it the Coop way and go, he's unexperienced, why did he get drafted so high, he's never going to start? Or you're going to take the optimistic route. Man, the dude's arm is fresh. He has not even thrown as many passes as Tom Brady threw in 1 year. Imagine how long his career can go.
Yeah. I guess more of the former. I think it was a bad pick, right, to give up all those assets and go up to 3 to get him. I don't think the I don't think the story is told on Trey Lance. So I'm seeing a bunch of people like panic selling Trey Lance, and I'm not quite at that point. But I mean, look, to make it through 3 different ranks of football and only throw 700 or so passes, I mean, it does speak to your coaching staff's confidence or lack thereof in your arm.
Do you think Trey Lance is going to be the starter next year, or are you expecting Brock Purdy or Jimmy G to start at quarterback?
Oh man,
that's the question of the offseason, right? That's the one that we're all thinking about.
I think it will be Trey Lance, but I don't think that it should be Trey Lance.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, look, like front offices, like they're just like riddled with all kinds of biases, confirmation bias being chief among them, right? So like they've already committed themselves to giving Trey Lance a try based on what they've invested to acquire him, right? So it would be shocking for any NFL front office to say, we invested all this to acquire this player, and actually we were wrong. We found someone that was better. We should make that choice. That's arguably the right choice, right? Like once you find someone that can be effective in your offense, it should be a merit-based decision, but I don't think that it will be.
I agree with you that the 49ers almost have to make Trey Lance the starter, and that's why I think he's going to be. They said, this is our future. This is what we're doing, and Trey Lance is it, and they went all in on doing that. Like, at this point, you have to. But I don't know. I'm curious to see. They said it was going to be a QB competition this offseason, and I hope they stand by that. I hope it's a true competition to see who the better quarterback is. And then I see all the talks of, like, if Trey Lance starts, they should trade Brock Purdy. They should trade Brock Purdy. I see no chance in hell that they trade their 7th round rookie quarterback on his rookie deal, who they know can come in and be an effective quarterback for them. Like that is just look at the problems they had at quarterback this year, injury wise. Brock Purdy is gold to them on that contract, even if he's not the starter.
Yeah. I mean, how many off seasons do we have to go through where a team that fancies himself a Super Bowl contender goes out and, spends and gives one of the biggest backup quarterback contracts in free agency to someone as playoff insurance, right? And San Francisco already has that in-house, whether it's Purdy or whether Purdy wins the job and it's Trey Lance, right? Like, to have a viable quarterback on your depth chart is of value in and of itself. And for whatever reason, like San Francisco is crazy snake bit when it comes to this. Like they are just always getting their quarterbacks and seemingly all of their vital skill position players injured, right? So if you have someone that can be effective in your offense and they're on a 7th round rookie contract, that is a huge asset for a contending team.
Huge. Tim in here saying manifest Lance plus picks for Lamar to the 49ers. Ooh. That, Tim, I didn't want Lamar traded, but that's one where I might be all right with it because it would be fun. Like, I think Trey Lance on the Ravens would be fun. That would be a fun quarterback for them to have. Like, yeah, it would suck losing Lamar, but you got Trey Lance coming in. And then Kyle Shanahan with Lamar Jackson under center, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. Like, that sounds like a fun offense.
That would be absolute pandemonium. And, like, talk about a swing for Lamar Jackson, who's been, like, largely throwing to the likes of like Miles Boykin through the majority of his career, right? And all of a sudden he gets to San Francisco and it's just an embarrassment of talent riches around him.
There was a point in the season where when Lamar Jackson was injured and like you were going through the Ravens list of people you could start and it was like Mark Andrews and Mark Andrews, and that's it. There's not a single other startable player here, even though we expect them to be good. Guys, joining us right now, we've got our friend, even though he's a Blue Devils fan, FYF fam member, G-Man Jay joining us. What's up, Jay?
Yeah, I get that a lot. Being a Yankees fan and a Duke fan, most people hate me. So
Jay, I will have you know, I spent the Duke-Carolina game with a Duke fan and cheered for him. I did not cheer for Duke. I cheered for him to be happy. Whenever he was happy Duke won, I high-fived him and said, yes. But then in my head, I said, for you.
I really feel like that was more for me, not your friend. I feel like you were cheering for them for me. As much as you love me.
No, I would love to come on the next day after UNC beat Duke and be like, so how about that Duke game, Jay?
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, and I'd say name one player that played, Simon.
Duke Baller, son.
Sorry, you got me.
Gotcha.
Nailed it.
No, I can't name any of the players on the current team. I can name a couple of the guys from the past that aren't so popular.
Well, it's hard because they're there for like 6 games and then they move on to the NBA. So it's hard to recognize any of the guys that play for them.
Yeah, and that's only if they redshirt. Otherwise, it's just like 2 games and then they're on their way out the door. Well, guys, now that Jay is here, we're about to get into a very important draft. We are doing our Disney movies draft. Now, Disney is a pretty big umbrella, so we're going to have to set a couple parameters here. Marvel, it's off limits, okay? We're not talking MCU here. We could do a whole nother draft, 5 rounds.
And I better be on the show when we do an MCU draft, just saying.
We'll get one of those in, and we'll make sure Joey's on as well.
Yeah, big MCU guy.
Big MCU guy. Joey Wright. If you go find him on Twitter at the Joey Wright and ask him all your MCU questions. He loves it. No Star Wars. Star Wars is off limits as well. Now, pretty much everything else that's under the Disney umbrella is fair game. We're talking Disney. We're going to do Disney Pixar as well. So if it's Pixar movie, you can throw that onto your list. Disney Channel originals, live actions, that's cool. Now, Eric brought something up before the show, Jay, that I wanted to run by you. Fox is technically Disney now, right? Like Fox Studios. Like, so the Simpsons movie is on Disney Plus. Are we not counting? Does it have to be like a Disney or Pixar property?
I would say it needs to be a Disney Pixar property, not something that they acquired.
Okay, cool. We'll go with Disney Pixar properties. And
you guys good with that?
Yeah, even though they acquired Pixar, I feel like it's within the theme of the draft to have
it's
Pixar.
Different, like you think Toy Story, you think Disney, you think The Simpsons. Even though technically they own the property, you still don't think Disney.
You think Universal Studios,
right?
Man, that giant pink donut there is like.
I'm such a big Simpsons fan, and I've yet to go there because we go to Disney because my kids are huge Disney fans. My wife has been a big Disney fan all her life, so I enjoy going to Disney. I love Disney, but I want to go in the world of The Simpsons.
Well, guys, let's randomize this draft order here. Jay, I'm going to randomize your spot first, okay? Random number from 1 to 3, going to determine where you go. You're going first. Jay has the first overall pick.
I don't want this pressure. I don't want this pressure.
Eric, we're going to RNG yours next, the number between 2 and 3. You've got the third pick, which means I got that sandwich. So I'm in the middle. Eric, you are going to be on the turn there, having that third pick. And Jay, you're going to have the first overall pick. Jay, you got 2 kids. You've probably seen a lot of the recent Disney movies. You've seen the old school Disney movies from when you were a kid. You've got a pretty extensive purview here.
I do.
What is the first overall pick going to be? Is it going to be a classic? Is it going to be a modern movie? I'm so curious, giving you with every movie on the table, what is going to come off the board. Also, Tim in the chat said, "Oh no, I can't pick the Simpsons movie."
Well, my children are home sick, so you might hear them screaming in the background while we're doing this. My wife is here too. I'm not just leaving them for Lord of the Flies. Guys, I got to do this.
Fully
show.
neglecting them.
You'll be okay. Here's a frozen waffle. Go heat it up yourself. I was thinking about this draft last night when we decided on the theme. The one place I did not want was the first overall pick because there are so many choices. You could go with one of the all-time classic. I don't want to say any names because maybe something can slip. This might be a little bit of an upset, but I know it's not going to make it back to me. I'm going to go with Moana. It's one of the more modern ones, but the music is one of the best of all the Disney classics. Lin-Manuel Miranda, wrote the music for that. It's got The Rock. It holds a special place in my heart too, because my daughter, who's 6 years old, that was the first movie, and Eric, you can attest to this with kids, that, sometimes kids attach to movies and watch it 100,000 times. And that was the first movie that Eva Kate really got obsessed with and watched over and over and over again. So as soon as I hear any of the music from Moana, I just see my daughter as that 2-year-old just sitting there like this watching the movie. She had her little Maui stuffed animal, and she dressed up as Moana for one Halloween. So it's got everything. It's a great story, great music. I know it's not going to come back to me. It might be a little early, but Moana for me.
JL in here saying Moana is the right pick, agreeing with you. And Jay, I figured that was up for consideration for 1 overall. I figured it was in the mix. I don't mind the pick. Coop down here, though, throwing some shade on it, saying recency bias in full swing for Grayson Allen there. Gotcha.
Yep, I've got that before.
Got him.
Tommy in the chat saying Toy Story has to be number 1 for me. Same reason, Jay. That must have been a movie that his kid latched on to. An important movie. Moana first overall, and that means I've got the next pick. And Jay, I'm going to be honest. When I knew we were doing this draft and it was going to be the 3 of us, all I wanted was for you not to have the first overall pick. Because you know what I'm going to pick here. I know you also like this movie. It's not your 101, but I thought maybe you would want it as part of your team, and you would know in order to get it, you would have to take it before
I thought about it. I thought about it.
But I'm getting my 101 here. My favorite Disney movie of all time. I've seen it. I don't know. Like, honestly, probably close to 100 times, because it used to be what I turned on. I've seen at least the first 20 minutes of it 100 times, because it's what I would turn on as I was falling asleep, because I knew every word to it. It was like a comfort thing, but entertaining enough. Tangled is my 101 of Disney movies. The retelling of Rapunzel is phenomenal. I think it has some of the best music of all Disney movies, but it doesn't get the hype that the other ones get. Like, I Have a Dream is an absolute banger. It might be the 101 of Disney songs for me. I have so much fun with that one. Tangled is going to be my 101. Which means, Eric, you're on the clock with 2 picks here on the turn.
This is a tricky spot. You teed it up perfectly. Jay and I are at that weird transitionary point where we have Disney movies that damn near raised us, but we also have young kids that are just constantly keeping Disney movies in rotation. So with that, I think I'm gonna go one of each. I'm gonna go with a more modern favorite. I'm gonna go with a movie that played a large role in my entertainment as a young lad. I'll start with the latter. I'm gonna go with the rare live action, and I'm gonna lock in the Mighty Ducks as the last pick of the first round. That movie was constantly playing in my house coming up. I grew up in Texas, so ice hockey wasn't a thing, but roller hockey was a thing. And there wasn't a single neighbor on my street whose window did not get broken or whose car did not get dented up by me trying to fire off some knuckle pucks. The flying V when we were out there rollerblading was basically our default formation. Mighty Ducks is definitely there. Last pick of the first round. And then my modern classic, this one is certainly not going to make its way back around. Got to go with Encanto. Been out in the market for about a year and a half. Every song is a bop. And honestly, like my kids enjoy it, sure. But whenever they're watching that, my wife and I are making absolute jerks of ourselves, just singing our hearts out as loud as we can. The kids now tell us to like keep it down, and we just sing louder. It was a huge part of kind of the end of the start of the pandemic when we were just constantly streaming stuff. So we've seen it hundreds of times. We know every word. Always a blast whenever we play it.
What a turn. Mighty Ducks, Eric. I don't know how it escaped my purview when I was preparing for this draft, but it wasn't even on my list. And what an oversight not to have that on. That was like one of the first like sports
I
movies.
missed it too. And I can't tell you how many times I've watched it, how many times I've done the knuckle puck. You know, I used to play some street hockey here with some friends, and same thing. That was a go-to move for anybody who grew up around that time.
It might have been like my first sports movie that I got really into, Mighty Ducks. I'm not sure there was another sports movie before that. And then to follow it up with Encanto. And Jay, I knew that one hit you. I think you sang
that hard.
Yeah, I think you were singing.
I can't even speak English.
Like
I'm so
3
upset.
months.
Yeah, absolutely. Every song, like Eric said, is a bop. And then we still, the second the beginning of We Don't Talk About Bruno comes on, my entire family stops whatever they're doing to sing the entire song.
I'm playing a little game theory here with my pick because I think you might take mine, but I think I have a very real reason why you won't take this one, even though I think you like this movie. Okay. So I'm going to go with my second option here and leave the one that I probably like second most on the board, thinking it's going to come back to me. And I'm going to take a classic. I'm going to take an old school one. I'm going to take one that I had a full wall-to-wall mural of in my room growing up. I'm going to take the one that made me be attracted to toxic and mean women for the vast majority of my life. I'm going to take the one with Danny DeVito starring as a satyr. I'm taking Hercules with this pick here. Hercules is such a phenomenal movie. It was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, and I've rewatched it recently. It holds up. And even though you know Danny DeVito's in it, the first time you hear his voice, it's shocking. You're suddenly reminded that it's Danny DeVito. That movie's just fun. And like Hades as a character in that movie, or Pluto for a kid, was just like, it was like the perfect level of like scary and funny for a child. Know what I mean? Like, it was the first time where I had that little like, ooh, spooky guy, but it's funny enough that it didn't freak me out like Cruella DeVille did.
Yeah.
So Hercules.
Great pick. That was on my list. I was hoping I can get later because it is one that's often forgot about. But that's another one that the music is fantastic. Anything Danny DeVito does is hilarious. But you're right. Like, he's still to this day, it's just shocking when you hear him. It's a good one. I will say though, I am very, very happy. I've got a lot of my favorites still on the board. The first one, I'm going to choose a sequel over the original. And I know a lot of people disagree with this take. I'm going Frozen 2. I think the music is better in Frozen 2. I think the story is better in Frozen 2. That's another one too that, you know, like you said, it's everything here it's got some sort of emotion tied to it. And my daughter was obsessed with Frozen. And in the middle of the pandemic, they wound up releasing that one early for streaming. So like Eric said, we watched it over and over and over again. And my son loves Frozen too. He knows every word to every song. I mean, he'd stand there like this, go into the unknown. It was hilarious. I got some videos. You guys know Brooks. He's a maniac. So he generally would do that with just a t-shirt, no underwear, no pants on, and just sing Into the Unknown, all Pooh Bear. So I'm going to go Frozen 2. I was hoping I could get one of those two movies. Frozen 2, I'm excited. I get the one that I wanted most. This next pick is tough because I still got a lot of my favorites on the board. Oh, man. This is tough. You know what? I'm going to reach a little bit here.
Okay. Take your guys.
I'm going to reach here. You know, it's all about, just like fantasy, it's all about having fun. This one is another movie that is always underrated. It's got fantastic music, fantastic story. Honestly, I think it's the best song in all of Disney's realm, whatever you want to call it. I'm going with the Goofy movie. It's one movie that you forget about. I forgot about from time to time, and then you watch it and you hear what's the name of that song? I'm drawing a blank now. Of course, I can't think of it. With Powerline. It's just all. I mean, you can't help but sing it. Troy and LQ would be really upset because we talk about that song all the time. It's one of my favorites. You know, it's not one of the all-time greats, but I grew up when it came out, and the song I'm trying to think of the name of the song. I've got to check it out. Powerline song. What is it called? Eye to Eye. Duh. So that's one of my favorites. I'm gonna have to. I can't take a chance. I can't take a chance that we're going. It probably would have been there, but it holds such a special place in my heart. I couldn't let it go.
I wasn't going to take it, Jay, but I know I like that movie, but I know it's got like a cult following. Like the people who like that movie love that movie. It's their favorite Disney movie for the most part. They are obsessed. I think it's a great pick. It's a good movie. I wasn't expecting it to go there, but you caught me a little bit off guard with that one, which means it is now back to my pick. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we've had a Pixar movie selected yet. And I'm going to take my first Pixar movie here. And it's really tough to pick the one that I want most on this list of all the Pixar movies. I think I'm going to go with the one that elicits the most emotion in me. I'm going to go with Wally here. Wally is sweet and kind and encouraging. And one time I cried during finals week in the library while watching it whenever I should have been studying. And since that moment, it has held a special place in my heart. That little robot spoke. He made me cry just going, wah, wah, meow. How does he do that?
It's tough to do, right? There's to say there's limited dialogue in that movie is putting it lightly, and yet still manages to tug on the heartstrings. So don't mind the Wally call at all.
Wally, you know what? Like Scarlett Johansson and her did an incredible job creating the character without a body that we like got to know. Wally, same level, same tier as Scarlett Johansson, creating a character without words that we fell in love with.
Better actor.
It goes Wally, Scarlett Johansson, Leonardo DiCaprio,
everybody else,
and then everyone else down here. Sorry, Tom Hanks. Wally's got you beat from the acting category. Jail in the chat saying, I'm annoyed I'm not here for this draft. Everyone in the chat, throw your favorite Disney movies in the chat. Pixar as well. Might give us some ideas. And I also see Tommy in the chat saying Crazy Youngins, Monsters Inc. up, Wally. Come on. Well, we got some Wally on there for you. And then he said the scene in Up is one of the most emotional, epic shorts I have ever seen. It is brutal. Did you cry the first time you watched the opening scene of Up?
Oh, the first time, and I would say upwards of 80% of the time that I see it. And honestly, it's funny because Disney's works are largely considered children's movies because they are. But I have ugly cried to more than my fair share of Disney movies. They've got a way of just cutting right through you. And Up is probably the GOAT of just absolute tearjerker scenes.
I am a movie crier. Something about knowing that their goal is to make me sad makes me more sad. Like the fact that like the theatrics of it, I fall for it 100%. The sad music. Got me. Like when they play like the sad music, I'm like, uh-oh, here it comes. I'm not just a movie cry. The voice every time, America's Got Talent. Every time they hit the golden buzzer, I will cry at every golden buzzer video. Sometimes if I need a good cry, I just pull up like the Detroit Youth Choir where Terry Crews runs out on stage and hits the button. I just have myself a good little cry. But the Up movie is the same. It's like a tear laxative.
It definitely is.
Is that what you're taking here?
No, it's not. Actually, I took a bit of a calculated risk. I think that there are a couple of first rounders still on the board, but I was hoping that at least one of them would fall back to me. And actually they both did. I thought for sure when you teed up that you're taking your first Pixar movie when you took Wall-E last time that this was coming off the board. Got to go with the OG Pixar movie, at least in terms of it entering the popular culture. I'm going to go with Toy Story to round out the second round. Really kicked off that entire generation and style of animation. So gotta pay my respects to the GOAT in that regard. And then I'm gonna go back into the 90s. I'm gonna move over to the animated side. Got to go with The Lion King here. Another one that was absolutely on loop in my household growing up. Like we just talked about, did a fantastic job of tugging at the heartstrings and getting you a little verklempt, as we put it, with Simba going down in the valley, calling out to his dad, right? So those are two that I think arguably could have been first rounders. I'm thrilled to have them here at the 2-3 turn.
Tim in the chat, fantastic turn right there. No, Toy Story and Lion King at the turn, that easily could have been 1-2 in this draft. You know what I mean? Like you put this draft together with random people, there's a very real chance we get Toy Story 1, Lion King 2, Lion King 1, Toy Story 2. Are you taking the live action Lion King or the animated Lion King?
Gotta go animated. The live action
sure?
wasn't bad, but I think a lot of the appeal was the nostalgia of the original one, right? Kind of a different take on a classic.
Yeah, 100%. I like the animated one better. I'm with you. I don't think it deserves all the hate that the live action one gets. It was still good. But people don't like it. They're unhappy.
Well, it's not the first one, right? So like everyone is holding it to that standard, and nothing is really going to compare to that as they try to sort of remake a classic like that. But if you can back out of the comparison shopping and just appreciate that it's a different way of doing something that's still really good. There's a lot to be said about the live action one.
Yeah. Also, Keith said good value right there. And Coop said, imagine your uncle murders your dad in front of you and you're also a cat.
I think about this all the time.
As sad as it is, it's harder to imagine being a cat. Like, I'm much more familiar with murder. Like, I see it on the news all the time than I am with like humans turning into cats. I think my only exposure to that is Professor McGonagall.
Yeah. Both are absolute mind benders, right? And you think about poor Simba's life, right? Like the turmoil of those early years. But it seemed like he made it through all right, right? He found his way in the world.
I have a Lion King tattoo that I got with about 10 minutes of foresight. Was at a barbecue restaurant with a friend and wanted to get tattoos, and I thought I like the Lion King, so I've got the little like Simba, the classic. If someone has a Lion King tattoo, the Simba like drawing on the tree with the finger, I got that on my leg.
Oh,
it's there forever. It's not even my favorite Disney movie. I just threw it on there for fun. It's a part of my college collection.
I mean, that's what the college collection's for. I had an idea. I was a little bit hungry and kind of hungover, and now it's on my body forever.
Exactly. Pizza and a Simba tattoo to start off a Saturday morning. Tim in the chat saying, why watch an animated version that is full of wonder when I can watch a cold, dirty, soulless, realistic warthog try to sing an upbeat bop? I do think that's what made it not hit the magic quite the same, is there was something that didn't quite like connect with the characters. There was something soulless about them, something uncanny valley about the characters in that movie.
Yeah, the uncanny valley is real. It was Seth Rogen was the warthog in the live action one, right?
What's up with him in the Uncanny Valley movies? Because they like did a whole bit with him in the Uncanny Valley in the new Chippendale Rescue Rangers, right? Did you see that?
I didn't know that one didn't make the rotation for us.
They have like the Uncanny Valley as like a location, and Seth Rogen plays like this like animated Viking almost, who's like is just a little bit off and like he's not looking in your eyes and his mouth's moving a little wrong. And now in Lion King, he's an Uncanny Valley warthog as well over there. Well, Eric, I'm honestly in shock a little bit at how good of a turn you just had there. And I've been stalling and struggling to try to come up with what movie I want to take next. My list is endless. There's a modern one that I'm very tempted to take here that I really like, but there's so many good classics and so many good Pixar movies. Do I zag? No, we're going to go with what I was thinking I was going with. This is one of my favorites. The first time I watched it, I then watched it an additional 5 times in the same week. It's a big, squishy, lovable robot. Another movie that starts with tragedy. I'm going to go with Big Hero 6. Baymax is goated. Baymax is an elite Disney character. And I guess there's something about like robots in Disney movies that really speaks to me, with WALL-E followed up by Big Hero 6. But no one warned me the emotional roller coaster I was going to go on when that movie started. I thought it was just going to be like a kind of goofy, like almost like kid sci-fi kind of animated movie. That thing was way more about like the drama and emotion of it than about it being a robot. So I'm going Big Hero 6 is going to be my pick here. Have you seen that one, Eric?
Oh, Big Hero 6 is a huge part of the rotation for us. My oldest was Baymax for Halloween 2 years ago. And same story, like it had been out for a pretty good while before we actually got introduced to it. And once we did, it was a weekly installation in our rotation. Baymax is a fantastic character. My 8-year-old still introduces himself as being my 5-year-old's personal healthcare companion, mainly because it gets under his skin. But I mean, the entire movie is it's action packed. I love the way that they used science and technology to all become superheroes. Fred is an all-time underrated Disney character. The scene at the end where they, spoiler alert, reveal that he's Stan Lee's son. I think he's his son. Was an awesome callback given how much he loves comic culture. It was just like every little detail was thought through. So not only do you have a lock on the robot lane for the Disney portfolio, but Big Hero 6 is an awesome get in the third.
We got Better Boss in the chat. Matt on here saying the Baymax fist bump is our kid's favorite. So getting some points with Matt over there. And I see 234 popping in the chat. What's up, 234? Welcome in, my friend. We're talking Disney movies. Also, 234 popped in. Tim said Coco has to be drafted. And 234 said, who? And said, oh, wait, you're talking Disney movies. Came in here thinking, like, which player are we talking about? Not a player, just a movie. And then 234 wants to know, do you remember the movie Dinosaur and Planet 51? I remember Dinosaur. I actually rewatched it someone recently, but I do not remember Planet 51.
I'm in the exact same boat. I don't recall Planet 51. Dinosaur is definitely a staple for us. I've got young boys, right? So like both of them went through like a year and a half long everything dinosaur stint. So if there is even the most obscure dinosaur content out there, there is a very good chance that I've watched it multiple times over.
I remember Dinosaur being one of my favorite movies of like my childhood. I remembered absolutely loving it. And I watched it recently and I don't think I should have. Because I do think it's one of the movies that hits different when you're a kid. Like the magnitude of the dinosaurs as a kid is just exciting, but the plot is we're walking here. Know what I mean? Like that's the plot of the movie. Is like we're walking here, and like you can't walk here. There just isn't much going on. Like I got to the end of the movie, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad they got to the water, but it didn't hit the same. Exactly, like it didn't quite hit the same. And Matt in the chat saying Mary Poppins will always be my favorite Disney movie. We'll see if it gets drafted. Unfortunately, Eric, Jay. The farmer that Jail was talking to about his hog earlier this week had some more questions. Jail was unavailable, so Jay had to go talk to a farmer about his hog. So he's not going to come back. But he did make sure I had his list of picks here. So his next pick that he wanted to take was, Tim mentioned it in the chat, it's Coco. Coco is the next pick off the board for our friend Jay over there. I'm guessing you've mentioned you have kids. You've seen Coco since it's come out, right?
I've seen Coco quite a bit. Now that we're in the San Antonio only segment of the FYF morning show, Dia de los Muertos is a big part of the culture here. Both of my kids add to the ofrenda every year at their school. So it definitely hits close to home. You know, that was, kind of their introduction into the concept of that holiday. They absolutely loved it. So we're painting our faces every year. We definitely lean into it, and Coco is in the rotation as it comes up.
Freaking awesome. I wasn't sure what to expect. I don't know why. It seemed like I was excited for the movie, but I didn't quite understand what the plot was from the trailer. I don't know why. And then I watched it, and then I watched it again the next day and again the next day. The music is so much fun. The characters are so lovable. The colors are exciting. And you're right. Living here in San Antonio, there's a little bit more relatable. Like the things that we're seeing are a big part of the culture here in the city. Coco added to the list for Jay there. Looks like we got someone wanting to come up and say hello here. Maybe make a celeb pick for Jay's team. Andrew Cooper, live from the airport on the way to Las Vegas, Wisconsin, is coming up to join us for a second. I bet his favorite Disney movie is DuckTales. What's up, Coop?
What's up, gang? You hear me all right?
Yeah, loud and clear. Almost as good as that Europe Wi-Fi.
In the airport. Looks a lot like almost every airport here, right? But this is Logan International.
Who's Logan?
He was the founder of Las Vegas, Wisconsin. Logan Las Vegas is his full name.
I thought Boston had like a Wolverine-themed airport. That would be sick.
Well, that's the other side. So that's the international side, is the Wolverine-themed part.
Of course. That way, whenever people show up in Boston, the first thing they see is Wolverine saying, "Welcome to Boston."
That's pretty standard business stuff. But yeah, so how's it going, guys? I just Coco got picked just now.
Yeah, and Coop.
Yeah.
Jay had to bail. It's his pick. You want to make a celeb pick for Jay's team here in the 4th round or in the 5th round? First pick of the 5th round.
I haven't really been paying attention. I've just been kind of making fun of whoever you guys pick. So I don't know who's on the board or not. Why don't we just pick off his list and I'll weigh in on my thoughts on that pick.
Okay, here we go. His next one on his list is a classic. He took a modern movie. He's taking Aladdin here. How do you feel about Aladdin going to Jay's team, Coop?
Bro, Aladdin is an absolute unbelievable. 1,000 he defeated the Galloping Wolves. 100 bad guys with swords, right? Like that's what's up, dude. And did you know that Robin Williams took like a crazy discount to do that movie?
I heard that. Did you tell me that recently? Because I heard that recently that Robin Williams took like a crazy discount to be Genie.
Mentioned it. I also recently heard that, but yeah, he took he did it for his normal fee is like $8 million, and I guess he did it for like 70,000. And he said he wanted to leave something that his kids could enjoy, and he left something that everyone's kids could enjoy. So amazing, right? The only problem that I have with that movie is that, I mean, if you really think about it, the guy is he's a criminal, right? And he basically has his little monkey friend steal things for him, and kind of when he ran through the bazaar there, he kind of ruined the life of that guy when he broke all his pots. You know what I mean? Like he was kind of was a bit of a street rat, like troublemaker, was he not?
You know what? Sometimes we forgive the hero. Like we forgive Aang for destroying the cabbages. We forgive Aladdin for destroying the pots. The hero gets away with it sometimes.
Aladdin was clearly a survivor, right? So kudos to him. But also there was a post-credit scene where he went back with all of his riches and his wishes and made it right for everyone who he laced up in the bazaar. So
did it?
It all
laced up. Everybody he tagged up while singing a little song, right? Like just every life he got destroyed, and he was like, ahead of the next guy, just stepping on people's heads, you know. So yeah, I'm glad that he made things right. I wish that was actually in the movie.
Should have put it in there. Albert in here saying good morning, everyone. What's up, Albert? Welcome in, my friend. Glad to have you here. And 234 saying change my mind. The Good Dinosaur. It's a knockoff of the Lion King. Have you ever seen The Good Dinosaur, Coop?
The Good Dinosaur? No, I haven't, dude.
I have not seen it either, so I cannot change your mind on whether or not it's a knockoff of the Lion King. Eric, have you seen it?
I have seen The Good Dinosaur. Per my statement earlier, any dinosaur-based content has been in rotation. Pretty solid comp. Definitely own spin on the Lion King, right? Coming of age tale, got to find his own way in the world. Returns home a different dinosaur. You just love to see it.
100%.
Is the Land Before Time Disney, or is that some other studio?
I don't think that's Disney, but I'm not 100% positive enough. I'm not confident enough to say for sure that it's not Disney.
Doesn't feel like Disney.
With some of my picks, I'm afraid that I'm going to fire off a different studio that was later acquired by Disney.
I've got my next pick ready. Coop, you hanging around for a minute for my next pick?
Yeah, I can hang around for 2 minutes because I got a board at 8:45.
I want to hear 3 minutes. I want to hear what you think about this. My next pick is Lilo and Stitch. I watched that movie an absurd amount of times as a child. The 626 sandwich stacker game on DisneyChannel.com as a kid, I think I played probably hundreds of hours of just stacking sandwich ingredients. And the likability of all the little monsters. I love a cute monster, cute, gross, cute, scary. That's right up my alley. Lilo, and then Hawaiian roller coaster ride as an absolute banger to throw in the middle of that movie. It's got to make the list. Lilo and Stitch for me.
Now, I've actually never seen it.
What?
And I'm about to get on a 4-hour flight, and I do have Disney Plus, and I'm still never going to see it. So,
Eric, can you vouch for me?
I can definitely vouch. We got into a Lilo and Stitch season right at the start of the pandemic, and my youngest had a Stitch mask, and anytime he put this joint on, he would go absolutely haywire and act like Stitch. So he'd be climbing up curtains and knocking over all kinds of stuff in our house. He was just a total menace. And Coop, I think you need to rethink your position. There is nothing better than a grown man 2 or 3 Bloody Marys deep, just living his best life, watching some Lilo and Stitch on a plane.
I got to get up in those Bloody Marys. I'm waiting until my second flight to maybe dabble into a beer or so to get into a Beelzebub.
I was going to say, you got 2 minutes. You could probably down a Bloody Mary or two.
I could probably get one in, dude. Get some Lilo going, some Stitch. Yeah, I don't know, man. Well, what would you rank it out of 10?
I'd give Lilo and Stitch like a solid, like 8.25 out of 10.
Yeah,
There's
so I was gonna need at least a 9.9 to watch this flight.
Oh, that's what a coincidence. I was going to give it a 9.9.
Oh,
I would need an average of 9.9 from the two of you.
Still a little
damn.
short.
Yeah, it's going to come up a little short. Well, Coop, enjoy whatever movie you decide to watch instead of Lilo and Stitch. Appreciate you calling in, my friend.
Catch you guys. See
I'll
you
see you.
in Vegas, buddy.
I'll see you in Wisconsin. Have some cheese curds for me.
Oh, I will. Later.
See you later, Coop. Eric, that puts you on the clock after my Lilo and Stitch pick, the last pick of this draft. Where are you rolling?
No.
You know what? We can add another round. You want to do another round?
Do we have picks for Jay to do another round?
I got picks for Jay to do another round.
Maybe we do like a consensus from the chat too for Jay's last pick.
Yeah, we can let people make other picks.
So if we're going 2 more rounds, I'm gonna go back to the live action side. Another movie that was instrumental in my time as a young lad. I'm gonna go Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Wow.
I've probably seen this movie 500 times. But also, you were talking about the Simpsons attraction at Universal Studios. There used to be an attraction at Disney World, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. Maybe the funnest playground I ever experienced as a child. So to tie it in with that real life experience, got to go Honey, I Shrunk the Kids to round it out.
I would have never pulled that one, Eric, but that is such a good choice. And as soon as you said that, I had forgotten about that playground. But I've been to that playground in Universal Studios. It's
legendary.
Like the memories are like they're coming back in fuzzy. I haven't thought about that in, I don't know, 20 years. That was so much fun.
Dude, it was the best. Like my parents were just like disappointed because like we went to Disney World maybe like 3 times as we were kids, and they're like wanting to like go on the rides and like take our pictures with Mickey and whatnot, and we're like, shut up, we're gonna slide down this giant blade of grass for 6 hours. Like we just like hunkered down in the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience attraction. So definitely have some good memories there. And I'll close out with one that is a bit more sentimental to me, just given how much my kids have watched it. I'm gonna go Inside Out. We've seen it hundreds of times. My oldest son did like a summer camp at the Children's Theater one year where they performed Inside Out, but also he uses the lessons from Inside Out like in his day-to-day life. Like
really,
he'll talk about his emotions or his feelings being a little bit mixed. He's a little bit sad, he's a little bit happy, he's a little bit disgusted. It's the cutest thing ever. Like whenever we're on a trip or we're about to say bye to family on our way home or whatever, he'll like stop and like just reflect. I'll ask him what he's doing and he'll say that he's making core memories. It's just like it's such a big part of like his fabric and his understanding of like feel about that. So Inside Out.
That's I was going to take that with my last pick here, Eric. And it's my sister's absolute favorite movie of all time. And you're right. You watch it and it's one of those movies, like, not only is it fun to watch, but I feel like it's such a positive movie for kids too. That is so cool that he runs around saying, I'm making a core memory. I feel like I use core memory in my vernacular now. Know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm not even necessarily referencing Inside Out, but that's why it like has entered pop culture. But that's just like common verbiage now that was popularized because of that movie.
Big time.
Inside Out. Nice. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Inside Out on the turn there. Where do I want to go here? Where do I want to go here? I'm going to go with a sequel that I think is better than the original. There's been a couple sequels drafted in this draft so far. I'm going to go with Monsters University. Monsters, Inc. was great.
Solid.
It set the stage. It was a lot of fun. But Monsters University was the story that needed to be told. Know what I mean? Like sometimes you feel like the original movie is the greater movie and they're trying to cash in on it. I feel like Monsters, Inc. was just necessary to give us the backstory to enjoy Monsters University to the fullest, because that's the story, the underdog tale of coming from behind, the fall from grace, and then the rise, the realization that maybe your superficial goals aren't what you were going after anyways. There's positive messages, there's lovable characters. Monsters University is an absolute classic of a movie for me, and I like it better than the original.
It's a great poll, and there's so many movies that are on my list that are sequels or spin-offs, and it made me realize, like, kudos to Disney Studios. They do a fantastic job of callbacks and tie-ins and like just little like breadcrumbs that, you know, tie into something from a previous movie or you know, explain a little bit more about the character, and Monsters U is full of that. So definitely like the pick.
I see Jay in the chat saying I can make my pick via chat if need be. I also have a list he said to go off of. Eric, you want to go 7? There's so many movies left. One more round?
Yeah.
You got one more pick? We can do one. Jay's next 2 picks, based on what he has told me, are Toy Story 3, the classic tearjerker of the Toy Story movies. That one's the one that'll get those tear ducts rolling. And then with his next pick, taking The Jungle Book. I feel like Jay's a sucker for the songs that he likes. Like the movies with the best music are the ones that are going to pull him in. And Jungle Book, you can't talk about Disney music without talking about without that movie.
Yeah, Jungle Book was definitely on my list. It was the one that I was highlighting when we said we're going to go another round. Another movie that had a more recent re-release with the live action Uncanny Valley creatures. Another call from that movie. Christopher Walken as King Louie is fantastic casting. I absolutely love that scene. They did a great job of making him even larger than life in that character. And your point from the top is spot on, right? Like all of those songs pop. I'm singing I Want to Be Like You probably on a weekly basis, right? Basically anytime that my kids are feeling a little ornery and I just need to distract them by making a clown out of myself, I'm firing up some King Louie.
It's perfect. I don't know how I've seen that movie. What, like from my childhood on, probably 30, 40 times. This is me learning for the first time that Christopher Walken is King Louie. I don't know how I've never placed that voice. And now that you've said it, I can't not hear it. I never placed it. How did I miss that? We got Danny DeVito and Christopher Walken drafted now.
I mean, the voice cast with Disney, all-timer.
It puts me back on the clock for my last pick of this draft. And I'm tempted between going back to the classics, taking one that is old school, maybe something that I watched as a kid, or one of these newer movies that I'm just absolutely loving. I think I'm going to go old school. And I think I'm going to go with another movie that I watched endlessly as a kid, a game that I had a video game for on the Nintendo 64 as a kid. The raindrops were killer, man. You got to avoid them. I'm talking about A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life is going to be my last pick here. This one, look, I'm not saying it's the best Disney movie or that there's not even better movies left. There's movies I like better that are left. This is nostalgia. This is a movie I loved as a child. This is me giggling at the German caterpillar. This is me sitting on the couch and running around as Flick on my Nintendo 64 trying to avoid the raindrops. I'm going with A Bug's Life.
Solid call. I definitely wore out my fair share of controllers with that Bug's Life game as well. This last spot is kind of tricky. I feel like there are some like all-time greats still on the board.
There are.
Lucky. But there are also movies that I just flat like better than some of the ones that are still in that kind of GOAT conversation. I'm going to try to bridge the gap here. I think one is a bit of a cult classic. It's still fairly well renowned, but it's one that I enjoy all the time. We actually fired it up like 2 nights ago. I'm going to go Ratatouille. I mean, the storyline is fantastic, right? A lot of the sort of themes and underpinnings from many Disney movies are there, right? Being yourself, finding your way in the world, even if you have to, push back against your family's expectations, even if you have to buck traditions, like, a rat cooking dinner in a 5-star restaurant. It's such an awesome movie. It's one that I don't think we watch in volume quite as much as some of the other ones that we fired off. But anytime that movie's on, like my household comes to a screeching halt, and we're all piled in front of the TV and just soaking it all in.
I love Ratatouille. Whenever I said there's movies I like more left on the board, Ratatouille was one of them. And we recently were gifted with Raccacoonie in Everything Everywhere All at Once from Ratatouille. Did you see that? Did you see Everything Everywhere All at Once, Eric?
I haven't seen that movie. My wife saw it and she made that exact same reference. She was like, if nothing else, it's a lot to take in. You really have to, follow every bit of the movie, but it's worth it for Raccacoonie.
Oh my God, it's such a good movie. And then when Raccacoonie came up, I just absolutely lost it. You got to watch it. I was about to spoil something. That's a movie. You just got to go in and see what they're doing over there. Tim said, anybody take The Incredibles? Nobody took The Incredibles. Or The Incredibles 2. Where do you stand on that one? Incredibles or Incredibles 2? Which one's better?
I'm in on The Incredibles 2. I like how they expanded the superhero universe a little bit more. There's also bias in there. Incredibles themselves, rather the original, it came out when I was sort of past my own cartoon watching age. But Incredibles 2 came out when my kids were firmly in that window, right? So definitely have watched way more of Incredibles 2. But I do like the way they got creative with the different superheroes in the sequel.
I'm with you. Guys, coming up, we have some more games we're going to play. Our friend Alex is going to join us at the end of this show to play some games with us. We're going to answer Reddit's toughest questions, play some Fantasy Detective, and pitch our beautiful inventions, movies, or TV show ideas to you as well. Before we go, though, I see Dave jumping in the chat saying you are both Incredibles too. What's up, Dave? Welcome in, my friend. Shout out Dave from the Toronto area. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah till he was about 19.
Nice. So, your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to your wife. I would say about 13, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required, and then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You don't need to be right 100% of the time.
No, there was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
A 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite. If you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, it doesn't count. Sorry, couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. right? Like he's coming over to spot it, and it's like every other time the player's just like, here you go, here's another thing to juggle.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Is it me, Ray, or is the only publicity that Microsoft Surface has gotten out of their whole thing on the sideline is people throwing them to the ground in anger? Like, is that just a me thing? Or the only time I hear about this device, Ray, is when somebody is chucking it on the ground, just pissed off at it, which I get it. All of us are in that world. We love to do that. Only in the NFL, Ray, can they get away with it because these are free. There's no cost. It's part of the sponsorship. Here's 5,000 Microsoft tablets to get you through the NFL season, and these players are just slamming them down. It's like they've become Gilbert on the sideline, and they're so frustrated. They're just like the only publicity this company and this product has gotten is negative.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I mean, people in the chat still talking a little bit of movies. Matt saying 2 is better. The Incredibles 2 is better than the original. My girlfriend would agree with you, Matt. She is adamant in that position. And then also saying currently watching it every day with the 4-year-old. Got that Incredibles 2 on repeat. Is that something I need to be prepped for if I become a parent one day? Kids that lock on to movies?
Oh, for sure. Jay talked about it with his kiddos. Inside Out was a big part of that. Honestly, the movie that trumped all of those in our household wasn't part of the Disney portfolio. It was actually Sing, which is Illumination. It's a Minions flick.
Another one where the sequel's better than the original.
Yeah, I mean, both of those movies, I would say upwards of 15% of both of my kids' waking life has been consumed by one of the 2 Sing movies.
Beautiful. And Tommy saying, yes, prepare to watch the same movie 100 times. Now that I think about it, I had some as a kid. Gulliver's Travels and Annie were my 2 movies as a kid that I just watched on repeat over and over. We had in Gulliver's Travels, it used to come on 2 VHSs because it wouldn't fit on one. So we had to, halfway through, I had to switch out the VHS, put the second one in, because you couldn't fit it on one movie because that was a long movie.
Yeah, it was one of the movies that I was not sure if it was a Disney property that was like that for me growing up was Homeward Bound. I watched so much Homeward Bound and the sequel too. The original was kind of 90s movies. Had everything you need, right? Had the animals talking, but it was more voiceover style, so you didn't have to cross the uncanny valley of the animal actually speaking. Watch that one on loop. I think my parents picked it up like at a gas station at one point, and we just wore that VHS out.
That was a classic one. Guys, before we get into our Here's the Pitch, tell you some of our invention movie or TV show ideas. I wanted to present some bad news followed by some good news. The bad news is this is the last Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show for the week. We will be back on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. There are not going to be Front Yard Fantasy Morning Shows, but the good news is that Better Sports Network has put on an absolutely sick sports futures draft that they are going to be playing during that time slot. March Madness, the World Series. Better Sports Network presents the 2023 Sports Futures Draft. So they're going to be drafting different sports futures, who they think is going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to be the MVP, who's going to win that NCAA tournament. Nando DeFino and the Better team of producers all got together to put that, and they're going to be playing it during this time slot. So you can tune in and watch that futures draft tomorrow and Friday, but you will not be seeing it. You will not be seeing us bright and early in the morning. If you want to check that out early, though, today at 3 p.m. Eastern time, they're going to be playing that sports futures draft. And then again, if you missed it, you can check it out bright and early tomorrow morning as well. And Tommy said, no Vegas vacation, FYF. No, the 4 a.m. start time was a little bit rough out there. So we're gonna
you guys will still be awake, right?
Maybe. You know what? The usually how it works is like The night ends around 1 or 2, and then we head back to the hotel room, and you just had a full day of talking to the best and brightest in this industry, right? In the fantasy sports and sports betting industry. There's a lot to unpack at the end of the day. So you go up to the room, and then all of a sudden it's 5 a.m. after you've like broken down everything that you went through. And you're like, oh shoot, I got to be up in 2 hours. Tommy said,
that might be an interesting show, which is like the exact opposite of what you think of like a 3 a.m. live stream from Vegas, right? You think it's going to be kind of wild, it's going to be all sauced up, and it's really just like you, JL, the FYF team, just taking like copious notes and talking about your takeaways from the
I'm like a work bender at 4 a.m. Absolutely.
Just
Well,
like
Eric,
a solid whiteboard sesh.
we're about to get into our next segment here that we call Here's the Pitch. This is your first time doing Here's the Pitch with us. I let you know about it yesterday. So didn't give you much heads up for some of these inventions or ideas, but I'll kick us off with mine and then throw it to you. My very first one, it's pretty simple. I want red zone, but I want it for college football. And it can just be the P5 conferences, okay? But I want college football red zone because on a Saturday, God, it is so hard to keep up with all of the college football games, figuring out what channel they're on. If there's 2 ACC games at a time, maybe one of them's on the ACC network, one of them's on ESPN2. I don't even know where to find the SEC network for these shows. We've got like Fox Sports 74 airing some of these games. I just want one place where I can turn it on. We've got one guy, like it can even be a guy I don't love, like throw Kirk Herbstreit in there or something for 7 hours and let him do 7 hours of commercial-free coverage of just college football. Let RG3 do 7 hours of commercial-free coverage on Saturdays. That's what I want. Like before the night games, college football, red zone. It's going to be tougher than the NFL because there's more games, but it's going to be awesome.
It would be way tougher. First off, I love poor Kirk Herbstreit and RG3 catching a stray.
I want to back that up. The stray was only meant for Kirk Herbstreit. I don't dislike him. I just don't love him. I love RG3, and I know that's an unpopular opinion as an analyst. I freaking love that man.
The second that he beat that hawk in a foot race in a very tightly tailored suit, like all respect, right? And like RG3 was a player that I thought was going to be like a franchise quarterback for me at one point. So I'm familiar with his on-field accolades when he was, at full strength. But that in and of itself might be his most amazing athletic feat. In a suit, just out racing a hawk was wild.
Was that the clip where he like came from behind? Like it looked like he wasn't really trying at first, then all of a sudden you see him just turn on the jets and beat him at the last second? Or am I thinking of a different RG3 racing video?
There's some controversy around it. It seemed like the hawk might have slowed up a little bit. Maybe he took a dive, might be on the take, right? But ultimately, I don't know what kind of hawk that was, but I do know that when diving, the peregrine falcon is the fastest creature on earth. So even if that hawk, slowed up a little bit at the end, incredible to see him come down the stretch run and break the tape.
Beautiful. There's my first Here's the Pitch. Before we go to yours, Eric, we got one from Better Boss in the chat. He said, I want a food transferer to take all the amazing food I serve my kid, which sits untouched. The food transferer would verify the food is germ-free and safe for someone else to eat. Is this another common kid problem? Not eating the food that's cooked and put in front of them?
Oh, 1,000,000%. I can't put enough zeros in this percentage, even if it's food that they like, right? Like, we went to Chick-fil-A a few nights ago, and the whole time we're in line, my kids are talking about how they're so hungry and they can't wait till they get home. We get home and like these nuggets just sit idle on their plate, which is like blasphemous as it is. I mean, good on Matt, like wanting to know that these things are germ free. Like anytime that there's leftovers on these plates, that is immediately divvied up between my wife and I, germ free or not. We just assume that we're living in the germs of our children, right? So what's it to take in a few more on a nugget or two?
What a sentence. Wants it to take it in on another nugget or two.
It's a worthy trade-off, right?
Matt, I'd be down for this from this food transfer. I would bring with me every time I went out to eat, because sometimes you're walking through a restaurant and you see someone left like a full plate of French fries. Know what I mean? Or like an untouched soda, or like half of a chicken parm. And you're like, I know I shouldn't, but like They barely touch that, man. I would love to be able to, like, at a restaurant on my way out the door, just like scan that plate of French fries, and you can just grab a couple on the way by.
I love the idea of you cruising through a restaurant with your unwashed hands, worried about the germs that are on the half-eaten chicken parm or the pile of French fries.
Full confession, and I think I've said this on the show before. When I worked at Macaroni Grill as a busboy, I was a table busser. At Macaroni Grill, they sell these cans of flavored carbonated San Pellegrino water, like blood orange and ruby red grapefruit.
Yeah.
They've got like the tin foil on top that you have to peel off. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
And they're like $12 on the menu at Macaroni Grill, like something absurd, but they're so good. And every once in a while, someone would order one and then only take like 1 or 2 sips. And if I went to go clear the table and I picked one of those $12 cans of water up and it was more than 3/4 full, that was mine. I was chugging it. I was taking a sip.
Oh, all day, right? And especially at that age. I mean, I don't know how old you were working at Macaroni Grill, right? But like you're in like peak like high school, public school immune response condition, right? Like at that age, your immune system can handle anything, right? So
I was
taking
18 coming out of living in a dorm freshman year.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like
that your white blood cells were doing some work. So a little San Pellegrino that might have been sipped by someone else is not even going to phase you.
now, I would never. COVID changed the game, man. Like
You-
it changed the
you
way
might die on the spot, honestly.
I wouldn't do it. Eric, here's the pitch for us. You got an idea that you want to throw our way?
Yeah, so I got this idea, right? We all love sports.
Oh, I do.
What if you could take the sports that you love watching and convert your favorite players' on-field production into points that you can then compete against your friends, your colleagues, maybe a little bit of money on the side, plenty of trash talking. Oh, that's fantasy sports.
I was going to say that sounds like the Oakland Pigskin Prognosticators League. I don't know if it ever took off though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The jury's still out on whether or not this
It seems a
fantasy
little
thing
far fetched.
is gonna actually get some legs. I have a very practical invention that I literally needed yesterday. I've now talked ad nauseum about having young kids. We are perpetually in a big juice box season. My kids, they take down more juice boxes per capita than most people drink water or maybe even breathe breaths, right? Like just they're constantly consuming juice boxes. But I don't know why this is the case. They're always finding themselves in a spot where that straw gets plunged into the pouch or the box. And my older's gotten better about it. My younger loses his mind if the straw on his Capri Sun or on his chocolate milk box goes into the box and he can't drink out of the straw anymore. And immediately my mind goes to, there has to be a way to where we can create a straw that once juice or milk or liquid in general touches it, it expands just a little bit and like really locks into the opening for the box or the pouch. So hyper specific. This is something that I need in my life like yesterday as a parent, but I'm hoping that here on the BSN platform, some engineering mind, some genius can hear this idea, run with it, and bless our lives with it.
I think I got you. I was listening to what you were saying. What a great idea, because that is a problem. Those straws fall out. You squeeze a little bit, you might get them popping out.
Yep.
Whenever you're going to hang something kind of heavy on the wall and you don't want to put that screw directly into the sheetrock, you grab one of those wall anchors, right? With the wings that through the hole one way, but then they flip out and they don't come back the other way. These straws for kids drink should have the little like wall anchor flaps on
There we go.
so that whenever it goes in, you then can't pull it out. They catch on the way out.
Love this.
Oh,
this is specifically why I just want to complain about the things that are hard about being a parent and let the universe solve my problems. So I thank you, Simon.
Eric, let's make a prototype. I think that's a win. That might be the first actual good idea that's been presented on the show, besides a remake of Home Alone where Kevin McAllister still where Macaulay Culkin still plays Kevin McAllister just as an adult, but he pretends like he's 7. That might be the only other good idea that's been here.
I mean, I would absolutely watch that movie. And if Disney made it, it would definitely be highly drafted.
Without a doubt. Craig said just abolish straws, and Tim said just use a cardboard straw. Should swell. And you and Kyle can hang out, Tim. Craig, I don't think you're allowed to hang out with Kyle. He needs that plastic straw. Is what it sounds like. I like that one, Eric. I've got one more for you. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. And if this exists, I'm sorry. I haven't Googled it in a long time, and it seems like something that should. But you know how a Kindle works, right? Like not the Kindle like tablets, but the like Kindle with electronic ink. Or you know what I'm talking about, like the e-paper.
Yeah, exactly.
So how that generally works is they've got colored beads in there that have a charge on them. And they'll put a charge through the screen that pulls the beads to the top to create the static image, and then it doesn't refresh, right? So that's why it doesn't drain as much battery. And that's why you can replace it, and why it's not a screen. Those aren't pixels. They're actual beads that are being drawn to the top of the screen by a charge and then resting there to simplify it. Now, why can't we do this in our bodies? Why can't I have electronic ink implanted into my arm, and I have tattoos that I can turn on and off via electronic ink? I can change the design. I've got a business meeting, turn my sleeves off. I don't have a business meeting, turn my sleeves back on, right? Let's run around. Let's get wild. I want a face tattoo for a concert. I get a face tattoo, and then I can turn it off on the app. All it's going to do is you would probably have to find a way to charge it. Maybe like we've got wireless charging now. You can surely charge your device wirelessly. And then all you'll need is some sort of like Bluetooth connectivity to this device of electronic ink in your body. And you can send whatever pattern, image. It'll all be grayscale, black and white. But wouldn't that be absolutely sick? Like changeable permanent tattoos?
Dude, that would be amazing. There's so many things to unpack here, right? Like if these need to be charged, do we live in a world in a future where we're like all of our chairs are also like charging pads where we can just like recharge our changeable tattoos while we're sitting? And then at that point, what else can you recharge, right? Need to pick me up, go sit on your charging pad chair. I do have a question though.
Okay.
You talked about your your ad hoc Simba tattoo. I'm curious if you could go in and erase or pull back any tattoos that you have for a meeting or whatever circumstance. Is it that Simba tattoo? Is it one that's different?
There's one that I would pull back, and it's not because I don't like it. I love it. It's beautiful, but it's because of where it is and what I want to be there. I've got an entire shoulder piece that is very dark and very black. It's a grayscale version of a clock tower on Clemson's campus, but as if it had been like abandoned in the jungle. Think like post-apocalyptic, overgrown with trees and stuff like that.
The jungle is reclaiming it.
Exactly, but it's huge and it's dark. And I want a full back piece one day, so I am going to have to figure out how to incorporate that in there. Otherwise, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. That's the only one maybe I would pull back. Just because
it does. When you go full back piece, are you doing like the Ben Affleck dragon style? Is that sort of your inspo there?
I don't know the Ben Affleck dragon tattoo on his back. I'm gonna have to pull that one up.
Dude, my guy's entire back is covered in a dragon tattoo. It's wild.
Oh my god, that is huge. That's like a phoenix rising from his ass crack, rising from the asses like a phoenix does. Sorry, excuse me. No, this is what I want. I don't want to take back really any of my tattoos. I'm happy with all of them. They were all important to me when I got them. And even if I like don't want them now, they speak to what was important to me whenever I did get it. Right. So I'm happy with all of them, but it would be fun, like going forward, if I could just get like a full sleeve that I could turn on and off, that I could change. Don't have to worry about it.
Dude, talk about like the ultimate time suck, right? Like people scroll through their phone on social media for hours and hours, right? Like if you could just open up an app and like scroll through options of like what your tattoo is going to be that day, or like maybe even like try to like freehand draw it, you would be sucked into that thing for almost all of your waking hours.
Entirely. Guys, well, coming up, we've got some more games. We're going to play some Fantasy Detective with our friend Peaked in High School. Then we're going to answer some of Reddit's toughest questions for us as well. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Baby J just wrote in the chat as we went to break that Nick Sirianni is the most punchable face in the NFL.
I think
I don't see it.
Well, yeah, I think people are bothered, and you saw the Giants bothered by the fact of how he was acting and his antics. And I'm growing a little tired of Kayvon Thibodeau on social media. Everybody
he's bothering me a little bit.
Well, everybody that criticizes Kayvon Thibodeau, he basically tells you, I don't know who you are, whether it be Jeff Saturday or whether it be Joe Staley.
Yeah.
Julian Love last week going on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and saying Sirianni's in for a free ride. Just look how talented that team is. Well, I mean, I think it's a little unfair. If you're a Giant or you're a member or you are a fan of the Giants, you went in there on that Saturday night and you got embarrassed.
Doesn't it feel like sour grapes, right? Like it just feels like you guys beat me up, so now I'm just going to try to find a way to beat you down.
And if you're Kayvon Thibodeau, enough, shut up. I mean, you're on social media. Enough with the fact that anybody that rips you or criticizes you or going out there and saying or ripping the 49ers who didn't have a quarterback in the NFC Championship game and saying, well, we could have done a better job than what San Francisco is doing. Well, they didn't have a quarterback. And then Joe Staley calls them out. And then I got to have Michael Strahan tag teaming and jumping in and ripping Joe Staley. The fact that Michael Strahan got 2.5 sacks on him during his rookie year where Joe Staley was critical of what Kayvon Thibodeau did this year. I mean, are we serious here?
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I mean, this is really what it's coming down to. I mean, why not hold the young man accountable and say, no, listen, zip it. Enough. Like you don't need to comment on everything, nor do I care. Yeah. You're not Micah Parsons. You're not Lawrence Taylor. You're none of those
But
things.
he thinks he is.
Well, but that's the problem. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. And I would say he has a long way to go to ever
And maybe he becomes one of the best. He could.
I mean, it's possible. Do I think he's ever going to be Micah Parsons? I don't.
I don't. He's talented.
He's talented. I'm not telling you he's not going to have a successful NFL career. But everybody that criticizes him, he says, I don't know who you are. Well, why don't you look up and have for the men that played in this league before you and what they accomplished in this league? That the league didn't start the day that you stepped foot in the National Football League. And sometimes there's reasons why people are going to go out there. And if you're going to make comments as stupid as he did in the NFC Championship game, you understand that you're going to get called out for it. And if you get called out for being dopey, don't all of a sudden respond with, I don't know who you are.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining myself and Eric right now is the trade daddy himself, our good friend Alex, aka Peaked in High School. You can find him on Twitter at PeakedInHS_FF, and you can check him out on Patreon at Peaked in High School. That's with a K to get all of those trade chart goodies. Alex, we missed you. Thanks so much for joining us, my friend.
It has been entirely too long. I missed you guys. I'm happy to be here. My Wednesday mornings are better with you in my life.
Oh, you make me blush bright and early this morning. And I'm guessing that shoulder is fully healed because it looks like we got the V back.
Well, no, this is more of I just have it buttoned at top, but I could have went with the tank. I thought about it. I got one. You want me to swap? I could.
Yeah, if you could put the mesh tank top on, that would be really great. That's my favorite one.
It's already starting to get warm in that gym, so it's got to go to mesh.
It has to. Alex, I know usually we just talk trade values with you here, but we were going to put your knowledge to the test and play a little bit of a game with you today. Does that sound all right?
Oh, you know I like to play games.
Let's do it. Alex, I believe you were one of, if not the first ever guest to play poll perception with us on the podcast before we ever even did video or live stream, when we were releasing it on all the podcast networks for our mom and one random guy in England to download. You were there. You were on that show. OG game player. Well, we're going to get into some fantasy detectives. Before we do that, though, guys, I wanted to remind everyone one more time. If you have not done so already, go and follow our friend Alex on Twitter. He's at PeaktonHS_FF, and he puts out one of the best tools for fantasy football, period. His trade value charts give you a overview of how the public is viewing the value of these players, unlike any other tool I have found in the fantasy space. So go check out those trade value charts from Alex. And if you haven't done so already, follow our guest host today, Eric. You can find him on Twitter at FantasyNav. Eric graciously filled in for us, and you might recognize him from some of the timeouts here on BSN with his work over at Green Screens Media. Familiar face. So big thanks to Eric, and make sure you're following him on Twitter as well. You guys ready to get into some detectives?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
How this is going to work is I'm going to start revealing clues one by one about a player. You guys are going to take turns guessing who you think that player is after each clue. Get it right, and you're going to earn as many points as clues there are left, including the clue I gave you. So the more clues that have been given, the fewer points you're going to get. We'll take turns who's going first on each round of Fantasy Detective. Whoever gets the most of them right is going to be our champion. And one reminder, if you guys have the comments, YouTube or BSN open, you can keep that private chat open. Close those other comments, because everyone in the chat, I want you guys to play along. Throw your guesses in there if you think you know what it is. We'll shout you out if you get it before the people up here on screen. Alex, I'm going to use a random number generator to decide if you're going to go first or second. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. You are going first by the science of that very powerful random number generator. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Here is the first prompt of Fantasy Detective. This person played wide receiver for the Canton Legends of the American Indoor Football League. You got a guess?
I got nothing.
Name
that was
any
before
player.
my time.
Player, coach, commentator. We'll reveal more information.
Andy Reid was a wide receiver, right? That's what he played. We're gonna throw that one out there. I mean, I got nothing.
Andy Reid is a great guess, but is incorrect. You got a guess, Eric?
I am also completely drawing a blank. I'll say Miles Boykin.
Miles Boykin is correct. I'm just kidding. That is incorrect.
Jesus.
Here's your next clue. This one giving a little bit more information. And Alex, you're going to go first for this entire first one, and then we'll switch to Eric back and forth.
Gotcha.
This coach started out as a defensive back coach for Mount Union. So revealing that it's a coach, and you know he was a defensive back coach, or she, for Mount Union.
That also played wide receiver, so it's probably
probably he. Yeah, that one eliminates that. Just want to shout out the female coaching hires in the NFL.
No, I still really don't have anything. I'm still thinking it's Andy Reid. Like, are we sure? He's a defensive coach, right?
I'll check again. Andy Reid is still incorrect, unfortunately. Eric, you got a guess for us? This coach started out as a defensive back coach for Mount Union.
No, still have no guess. Pat Surtain Sr.
Pat Surtain Sr. is incorrect. Some guesses are starting to come in the chat. I don't see the right one yet, so keep throwing those answers in there. Here's your next clue, Alex. This coach met his wife while working for the Chiefs in the early 2010s. A little more information about a previous team he's been with. So you know he's played for the Canton Legends, coached for Mount Union, and coached for the Chiefs in the early 2010s.
I mean, he could still be there. It didn't say that. He could just be there for 15 years. We don't know.
Yeah.
I still got nothing. Still Andy Reid? Is he still there?
Andy Reid for the third time. Unfortunately, incorrect. You got a guess for us, Eric?
I love the idea that every guess is going to be Andy Reid, because all of these answers keep honing in on it being Andy Reid. The only other Chiefs coach that comes to mind other than Andy Reid for whatever reason is Todd Haley.
Todd Haley, a great guess, but an incorrect one. I'm sorry, Eric. Your next clue. This coach eats a cheeseburger after every NFL game. I'm just kidding. It's
still Andy
I'm
Reid.
100% joking.
It's like, I got it.
Here's your next clue. During the 2018 season, he served as the offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts and coached Andrew Luck to Comeback Player of the Year.
I feel like we should absolutely know it at this point.
We got JL in the chat while you're thinking, saying, "Hi, boys. We made it through security." Oh, thank God, JL. I know that's always a 50-50 chance on if you're going to make it.
Yeah. I guess my tip didn't come in time to catch him, so we made it through. I don't have anything. I'm pretty sure it's not Andy Reid at this point. But that's
I don't remember him
being
being
more
the
attention to
offensive
coaches in 2018.
You want to throw a random coach name out there?
I really don't, because I don't want to look dumb.
Alex passing. Eric, what do you think here? You got a guess?
I'm within inches of pinpointing this coach's name, and it just is not coming to me. I can describe him, but I feel like I'm giving away more clues.
Frank Reich is incorrect. Here's your last clue. Here is your last clue. You ready? It might be Andy Reid still. We don't know for sure. This NFC East coach is 23-11 during his 2 seasons with his current team.
Oh, shit.
I see Dame in the chat. What's up, Dame? Welcome in. Throwing some guesses in there. I haven't seen the right answer in the chat yet either. So you guys stumped. You guys aren't the only ones. The chat have not gotten this one yet either, with some of the answers coming in.
Andy Reid again. It's still Andy Reid. I'm pretty sure he's in the NFC East, right?
Andy Reid is incorrect. He hasn't made an unannounced move to the NFC East. Eric, you know this one? You got it?
I'm so mad that I can't pinpoint this. I believe this to be the coach that filled in for Chuck Pagano when he was battling cancer, and I just can't place it. I'll say Chuck Pagano, knowing that it's wrong.
That is incorrect, and the answer just came in the chat, guys. No points going on this one. Tim and Victor at the last second getting it with that last clue. It's Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is the answer to this one. The coach that played across Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. Got
so
that
much
done.
Andy Reid.
I know.
Why didn't you make that the clue? I would have got it.
I know. I should have thrown that. All we had to do is make the clues Andy Reid centric, and then you'll get them. Every clue needs to be within reference to Andy Reid.
I got a Jeopardy category for you. I'll shoot you some questions.
Well, guys, we're going to move into round 2. It is still tied up here. It is tied up 0-0. It's anybody's game. But Eric, you got the first guess on this one. You ready?
I'm terrified.
Here's your first one. His French bulldog's name is Bougie.
Isn't that Jay's bulldog's name? Jay Felicio.
Jay Felicio is incorrect. Alex, do you have an NFL person that you think would name their dog Bougie?
It's a more reasonable guess than Jay. Sean McVay.
Sean McVay is incorrect. Though I learned a fun fact about him. Even after this coaching search and being a head coach for 7 years, he is still the youngest head coach in the NFL. He's been a head coach for 7 years and he's still the youngest. That's wild, man. To stay the youngest at something for 7 years that's constantly still like bringing in people after you, nuts. But it is not Sean McVay, which means we're going to move on to clue number 2. Eric, this wide receiver is 6'1" and 215 pounds.
I want to say Miles Boykin so bad. I'm going to embarrass myself on wide receiver heights. I'll go Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas. Great guess, but incorrect. Alex, it's on to you now. How are you on your heights and weights? On a scale of Eric to Josh, with Josh being knows every player's height and weight, and Eric being, I'm going to embarrass myself on heights right here.
Eric just guessing Michael Thomas.
A lot closer to Eric. I think Michael Thomas is taller than 6'1". I think but I'm not going to. So he's a thick boy at 215, 6'1". It's Juju?
Alex, Juju is the correct answer. You are going to score 4 points for getting that one right. Juju Smith-Schuster has a bulldog dog named Bougie, and he's 6'1" and 215 pounds. Nice job, my friend.
Wow. Are you surprised by Bougie as the dog? Like that's kind of was like, man, who's someone that's doing a lot of TikTok videos?
Who's someone flashy?
Fair.
TikTok boy, as James Bradbury called him, like we talked about earlier in the show today. TikTok boy's correct, and that's going to give you 4 points, Alex, and a nice little lead after that first one. The rest of the clues on this one, I did not know this one. Maybe I should have. When this player played in Snoop Youth Football League, Snoop Dogg gave him the nickname Sports Center. Did you guys know that?
Nope.
That there's Snoop Dogg and Juju Smith-Schuster lore. They go back. You can tie them together. And then we had this wide receiver had 78 catches for 933 receiving yards this season. And this player's best year was in 2018 when he had 1,426 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns.
Would have gotten it there probably. Did anyone in the chat get it? I don't have it open.
Dame got it in the chat right moments before you came in with Juju. Dame came in with it as well. Nice job solving that one, Dame.
I love Alex with the slow roll saying that he doesn't know anything about heights and weights, and then immediately nails it on the heights and weights question.
You know what? I am misspeaking representing Dame. Dame got it just after Bougie. Just based on Bougie. So I'm guessing Dame knew Juju had a French bulldog named Bougie. Got that one. Wild. Nice job, Alex. 4-0. How does it feel?
It's good. Feels good.
Pretty good. I won't be happy till it's 10-0, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. 20-0, whatever.
We're going to move on to our next prompt. Alex, you've got the first guess on this one. Are you ready for it?
Let's do it.
We've got this player's favorite color is police light blue.
Is what?
Police light blue. Specifically. Everyone knows the specific shade of their favorite color. I feel like the clue in here is less the color itself and more that someone would respond police light blue whenever being asked what their favorite color is. You know what I mean? Like there's more information in them giving that like such a specific answer than the answer itself. Like what does that say about them? I should look who this is.
Josh Gordon.
Thanks, Keith. And that is a phenomenal guess, but it is incorrect. Eric, you got to guess here. Whose favorite color is police light blue?
God, someone just going like deep into the Crayola box of colors. What sort of maniac is going to give that specific answer? Antonio Brown.
Ooh,
Antonio Brown. Another good guess.
It's a good
Unfortunately, incorrect. In 2013, this player was third in MVP voting.
So my other guess was going to be Michael Vick. We'll go with that.
Michael Vick. A good guess, but incorrect. Eric, that comes back to you. Third place in MVP voting in 2013.
I don't think he was playing.
I don't even know if I know who won the MVP in 2013. I'll say Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers. Man, every guess you guys are giving sounds right, but it's incorrect. Here is your next clue. This player has a golden Labrador named Bruce Wayne. Favorite color, please, light blue. Golden Labrador named Bruce Wayne.
It's definitely Phillip Rivers. Don't lie to me.
I'm back on Andy Reid, honestly. Let's see. 2013.
I forgot about Andy Reid's almost MVP season.
Did you see his punt pass kick from when he was a child? Like he could have been.
No, I got to look that up.
I'll send it to you in a minute. I have it saved. I got nothing. I mean, it's got to be.
Throw a player out there. What are you thinking?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. The elite Joe Flacco is the incorrect answer. Eric, what do you got here?
I'm so hung up on this blue call. I feel like that has to be like a team's jersey color. I'm going in the wrong direction. Andre Johnson.
I'm sorry, it is not Andre Johnson. Here we go. This quarterback was drafted in this. That number is wrong. One moment. We're going to skip that one and go to the next clue. The most touchdowns this player has ever thrown in a single season is 32.
Eli Manning?
Eli Manning is incorrect.
2013 is terrible.
Also, I want to, this one is not incorrect, but a previous clue was. I have misguided you guys, so I'm going to give you each an additional guess without penalty of points. In 2016, this player was third in MVP voting, not in 2013, in 2016.
Changes some things.
Because this player was not, the next clue. So this player was MVP in 2016, or third place. Alex, does that change your guess at all?
Yeah. Yes. For literally all of them. Yeah. Do you want me to go again?
Yeah, throw a guess out there.
Let's go Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is the correct answer, Alex. Derek Carr was third in MVP voting in 2016. We're going to give you 3 points for that one, going back to that clue. And what's
an asterisk on it, though?
You have 7 with an asterisk. And Eric, you have 0 with an asterisk.
No. This is a well-qualified earned 0. Okay, don't asterisk my non-scoring.
You're right.
Would you have gotten Derek Carr there? That's the only one I feel bad about. You didn't have a chance at this one.
I was not getting the Derek Carr there. I was kicking around Russell Wilson, if I'm being honest.
You were stuck on some blue teams.
Not a bad guess. Yeah. But he never got that many votes, MVP votes.
Russell Wilson?
Yeah, right?
No, I don't know.
Gino has more MVP votes than Russell Wilson. That's a thing, right?
Hey, your QB5.
I believe it. Gino got what? He got 1 this year, or he got a couple this year. That's pretty funny. Alex, you have a decent lead here right now, but it is Eric's turn on this next one. There's still 2 more prompts, so he could easily come back. Eric, are you ready for round 4?
I'm ready.
Okay. This player ran an underwhelming 4.62 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine.
Oh, God. Combine, 40-yard dash speeds right up there with my height and weight knowledge. Let's go with Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is incorrect. Alex, you got a guess on this one?
Is it Mark Ingram?
Mark Ingram is a great guess, but is incorrect. And Eric, I'm with you. How I view 40 times is I know faster than 4.4 is fast, and I know slower than 4.6 is slow, but I don't know the minutia. Like a player, I'm like, if they're fast, I just assume around 4.4, and if they're slow, I assume around 4.5, 4.6.
It really depends on the position. Of 4.62 at Mark Andrews' size is not miserable.
That's a great point. That is a great point. We're going to move on to our next clue. Mystery player broke many of Jerry Rice's receiving records throughout his collegiate career.
Oh, God. So he's a wide receiver. I have no idea where Jerry Rice played in college.
This is not saying that they're necessarily teammates or played at the same school, but that he broke a lot of his collegiate records, like receiving records, overall college records.
I'll go with Chad Johnson / Ocho Cinco.
Ocho Cinco. Great guess. Incorrect. Alex, you got a guess here? Broke many of Jerry Rice's receiving records throughout his collegiate career.
I'm trying to think of who just had an insane slow boy that's insane collegiate career. Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen is incorrect. Here's your next clue. This player made 8 catches for 92 yards, 1 carry for 7 yards, and scored 2 touchdowns in his most recent Super Bowl appearance.
You say that one more time?
Say that again?
Yes. This player made 8 catches for 92 yards, 1 carry for 7 yards, and scored 2 touchdowns in his most recent Super Bowl appearance. Yeah, the stat line one more time. And for everyone in the chat, throw your answers in there. Take a guess. 8 catches for 92 yards, 1 carry for 7 yards, and scored 2 touchdowns in his most recent Super Bowl appearance.
in his most recent Super Bowl appearance.
While you're thinking, I see Hal in the chat. What's up, Hal? Good morning, FYF. No need to apologize for being excited for the day. Welcome in, Hal.
Is it Odell Beckham Jr.?
This is not Odell Beckham Jr., Eric, but I like where you're coming from. Alex, you got a guess here? Who showed up in the Super Bowl? What do you think?
It's not wrong. That's because it's wide receiver. Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is incorrect. Here is your next clue. This player was the first wide receiver to win Super Bowl MVP since Julian Edelman.
Oh man, I feel like I'm getting further away with each hint that you give me.
So first wide receiver to win Super Bowl MVP since Julian Edelman.
I'm just completely drawing a blank here.
You get put under the spotlight and the game changes.
I'm surprised that I still know words anymore, honestly. I honestly can't even think of a wide receiver who's played in a Super Bowl now that we're talking through this.
Any player, throw it out there.
Juju.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is incorrect. Alex, it looked like you had a light bulb moment while Eric was thinking there. You got this one?
It's Cooper Kupp.
This is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp with his huge Super Bowl performance, ended up winning Super Bowl MVP, had a great college career, and isn't the fastest guy. Alex, that's going to get you 2 more points, bringing the score to 9-0. Eric, I'm going to be honest. You can't come back. This game is unwinnable for you. Alex, you have officially won this game. But you can still get some moral points on this last prompt.
It's really all that I have left.
Round 5. Alex, this one is back to you going first. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. This player attended the same high school as Devonta Freeman.
That would probably help if I knew where Devonta Freeman was from.
Yeah, that would probably help. He's from somewhere.
Yeah,
At
he's
least
he's
one
probably
other
from somewhere in the
player.
U.S.
Yeah,
just
most
numbers
likely.
wise, probably a state, probably one of the continental. So it's 48 states. It's narrowing it down. That's all I got, really.
So name any player from the continental United States.
Yeah. So let's see.
So you've eliminated Chase Claypool.
Solid pull.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Canada. That's right.
Josh
Maple
Palmer.
Syrup.
Shout out Josh Palmer from the Toronto area.
Let's go with Mark Ingram again.
Mark Ingram again is incorrect. You got to guess, Eric?
I feel like at this point I should just continue guessing Andy Reid to keep the joke alive. Went to the same high school as Devonta Freeman. It helps that we can eliminate Chase Claypool.
And Josh Palmer, don't forget.
Of course, yeah.
And Mark Ingram.
We got 3 players eliminated.
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon is incorrect, but you guys narrowed down the position correctly because this running back was named Florida's Mr. Football in 2013. This running back was named Florida's Mr. Football in 2013. And just so we're clear, the state of Florida, not the University of.
Oh.
Doug Martin.
Doug Martin. Oh man, every time that name comes up, I just get like a little bit of joy. I love the muscle hamster, but unfortunately incorrect. But thank you for saying Doug Martin out loud on the show. It had been way too long. Eric, what are you thinking here? We got some guesses coming in the chat. Nothing
Mr.
right yet.
Football
Though.
is a high school award.
Is it?
So he would have came into the league around 2016. Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette
Good guess.
is incorrect. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
This running back has 5,993 rushing yards and 47 rushing TDs in his career. Fairly prolific. You got a guess, Alex?
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley is incorrect. Eric, you got a guess for us? And I'm seeing the answers in the chat. Nothing correct yet in the chat. I feel like you guys are sniffing it a little bit. You guys are getting close. Oh, and there was some premature celebration going on in the chat, assuming they had it.
I was going younger than those stats would indicate.
What's it going to be, Eric?
It will be. Oh man, I'm going to undershoot this. It'll be Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert is incorrect. Here is your next clue. 1 second. Sorry. Your next clue is this NFC North player became only the third player in his franchise's history to record 200 rushing yards in a single game. This NFC North player became only the third player in his franchise's history to record 200 rushing yards in a single game. Alex, we're back to you.
Take a dive, Alex.
And Eric's pulling what you did to him last time. I got it.
Like,
of course, it's so
this
clear.
Is one of those moments where I need to remember which one's NFC. I still, because it doesn't matter for fantasy, so I've never really learned. Like, this is we're let you in behind the scenes. I still don't remember which team is in which a lot of the time. I'm terrible.
Alex, confession. I can tell you which teams are in a division together. I always struggle with it. The game I have to play is, okay, I know the Browns are AFC. I know the Browns can't play the Dolphins in the Super Bowl because Tim and I have talked about that. So the Dolphins must also be AFC, which means the Patriots are AFC. They've played the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. So I know I can start weaving the web, but it's never just like a clear thought.
It's particularly hard to think about this when the person who's going to guess after you knows the answer. It just makes like all the words disappear from your brain.
Yeah. And if I guess a running back that's not in the NFC North, I look like an idiot.
You look like me on a daily basis.
We're going to go with a ton of confidence that it's Dalvin Cook, knowing that he doesn't play in the NFC North.
Alex, not only did you name an NFC North running back, you named the correct NFC North running back. Dalvin Cook is the correct answer, making this game a clean sweep. 3 more points go in your direction. A final score of 12-0 going Alex's way on this one. Alex, congratulations, my friend. And Eric, I see you got my Venmo right before it started to throw this one to Alex on his return to the show.
Yeah, I would like an asterisk next to my 0 now because I knew that one technically before Alex. It was merely the questionable random number generator that ultimately left me on the schneid.
Are you questioning my random number generator, saying that it's
didn't seem random
accurate?
at all? It was in order. It was very brief.
It was so random.
I was between him and Aaron Jones. I couldn't remember when Aaron Jones was drafted. Was he 2017 or was he 2018?
He's one of those players where if you told me he was 29, I would believe you, and if you told me he was 25, I would also believe you. Like, I'm not entirely sure how old Aaron Jones is or when he got drafted.
He's like the running back version of Brandon Cooks. It's like it feels like he's been in the league for 15 years and he's like 28 always.
There's certain players.
Yeah.
Like Chad Henne, I had no idea how old that man was. I don't know why. Just whenever I heard that name, I thought, oh, he's a 25-year-old backup in the NFL, even though every year I've ever watched NFL football, Chad Henne's been a backup in the NFL. But in my mind, consistently, he's just like been the young backup waiting for his chance to start. And then all of a sudden he retired with a Bud Light in hand after becoming Super Bowl champion.
$40 million richer, too.
Yeah, I can live with that. And then Taylor Heineke coming out with maybe the best quote of the NFL season, saying that he doesn't mind being the backup quarterback. It's one of the best jobs in America. Like, everyone has always said that, but he said it out loud. Know what I mean? Like, he's the guy who's like, I'm fine if Howell takes my job. Like, I got the cushiest job in the world.
Would you rather
he's
be
like, I'm going to keep crushing
string?
these beers on the plane either way.
Ooh, second string or third string? That's a tough question because second string has more job security. Like you're not going to be the first one cut or replaced by the new guy coming in. But there's also the higher chance that you actually have to go in the game and perform. I think I'll take second string because I think you'll be forgiven for playing poorly as the backup instead of losing that job. What about you, Alex?
See, I think second string is probably what, like $1 to $4 million a year, right? Third string's going to be rookie deal, maybe 1 million. So I'm probably going second string and just hoping I'm behind Phillip Rivers. Like,
and Hal bringing up your point, saying better pay as second string. What about you, Eric? Are you taking second or third string on an NFL team?
Yeah, sweep it, right? Like you're getting paid exponentially more than third string, and you basically have to you have to know the playbook well and maybe keep a drive alive once every 2 or 3 years in order to earn your millions and millions of dollars.
We got Craig in the chat coming in saying, I'm glad you went with the spelling that you did, Alex. If you peaked in high school, that could have caused trouble. Peaked with 2 E's instead of peaked with an A.
I'm going to be honest. That name was already taken on Reddit. I tried because I thought it was funny.
Guys, Alex, I did have one more question for you before you head out. But before we do that, I wanted to remind everyone that we're sponsored by our friends over at Lucra. You can download the Lucra app by clicking the link right below my face here on the screen. You can use promo code BSN to sign up and get $10 free to play with, plus a 100% deposit match up to $100. You can challenge your friends. March Madness is coming up. You want to throw some specific games, do it on Lucra. You're going to play cornhole with your buddies this weekend. Throw it on Lucra. And again, use promo code BSN to sign up. Alex, earlier, Eric and I did a Disney movies draft with Pixar movies included in there. I was just curious because there are so many of the elite still just sitting out there. Like there's a chance that your favorite wasn't even drafted. I'm curious, what are your top notch? If you were in that draft, what would have been at the top of your list?
Man, there's the nostalgia feel. How much and then when you go back and rewatch it, does it hold up? So it's kind of what are you grasping at? Like the movie Up, I think it's got to be up there, right? Like that's probably my top. What would you say, top 3? Top?
Yeah, just the ones that are up there at the top. Up didn't get drafted. I almost drafted Up, but no one took it. Yeah.
Yeah, Up. What did you guys pick? Like
the first overall picks in that draft, we had Moana, Tangled, and the Mighty Ducks were 1, 2, and 3. So Eric grabbed the Mighty Ducks there at the end of the first round. And Hal coming in saying the Aristocats in the chat.
Oh, that's a banger. See,
Aristocats
I'm gonna switch it up. You said Disney or Pixar?
Yeah.
I'm going Star Wars.
Oh, we eliminated Star Wars from the draft, but you did not know that rule. But that is the correct answer, without a doubt. Yeah. Alex, I want to thank you.
Toy Story. Yeah.
Toy Story was a 5th round pick, 4th round or 3rd round pick. It went on for a while there. Alex, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us today, my friend. Guys, if you're not already following Alex, go follow him on Twitter at PeaktonHS_FF. Check out his trade value charts. Then when you inevitably want more, check him out on Patreon as well. Alex, thank you so much, my friend.
See you next week.
We'll see you next week. And that's going to be it for us today. A huge thanks to Eric for coming on and guest hosting for us today. Eric, it's been a pleasure streaming with you. Everybody, a reminder, this is going to be it for the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show this week. But the Better Sports Network Futures Draft that's airing today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time is going to air during our time slot tomorrow morning and Friday. So tune in and check that out if you miss it this afternoon. Until Monday, though, we are out of here. We'll see you guys bright and early Monday morning. Adios, everyone.